Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, good night, wherever you are in the universe, wherever you are. Welcome to another episode of Speaking Out, Exposing Corruption and Incompetence. Welcome. Now I gotta tell you, share the live. Share the live. It's gonna be epic today. Share the live. Let people know that we are on, and we are going to be dealing with issues. I mean, we know by now the most topical issue is the sexual or the rape allegation against Minister Nigel Daramla. Let me sugarcoat the words. It's a rape allegation. It's a rape allegation. How are we going to deal with it today? We're going to deal with the complaint. We're going to deal with everything associated with it. So share, get your cup, your popcorn, and your Coke, because I think we're going to go over time today. I noted the class full from very early. Class is full from very early, and I don't think we're going to disappoint you today. My colleague is already in the studio. He's having some audio issues. We hope that those issues are going to be resolved in a short space of time. But we're ready to go. We're ready to go. Share the live. Share. Everybody should share to at least 10 posts. We must have record numbers today. The students in the school yard already broke the record. When I look at the amount of people who logged on since 4 something this morning and just waiting. So here we are now to tell you what is going on. We got some, we normally housekeeping stuff with roll call and so on. We're going to do that. But we want to give praise and thanks to the Almighty for allowing us to see this new day. Today is Wednesday, the 21st day of June, 2023. Let's rock and roll. Let's share the live. We have a lot of numbers already. People hanging from the rafters. People walk with their own seat. Yes, I see all those forces who are saying they're present. We're gonna run it through a while. The roll call will take some time. People have said that some people don't like the idea of the roll call, whereas some people have said to us, roll call is a must. You must know those who are in class and keep the record straight. So we're gonna do the roll call. And I've said, sit back, strap in, because we're gonna bring it to you real this morning. We are going to bring the issue. We're gonna dissect what has been happening and to make you wiser. Because you can't depend on the mainstream media for credible information in these days. They come with a lot of spin. They come with a lot of propaganda. But we see through it. We will see through it, and we will tell you what the real issues are. So share the live here. This is the day that the Lord has made. Let's rejoice and be glad in it. We got to say that every time. We are privileged to be in the land of the living, and we must rejoice and we must celebrate the fact that we are in the land of the living. Many persons have not been that fortunate. So we who are fortunate to be here, we must celebrate. When you wake up, as the song says, you wake up this morning, you're a winner. You wake up this morning, you're a winner already. So yes, we're gonna be moving on shortly. As I said, my colleague is already in the studio with some technical, some audio issues. We're gonna see how that goes. But come what may, the information is going to be brought to you. So much is going on. When you see some of the things, the things that are going on, it pains you. When you see the reaction of those persons in high authority, it is even more painful to see these things that are going on, and they are not reacting the way they should react. So we are going to deal with that this morning. Let me before let me send out belated Father's Day greetings to all the fathers. Sunday was Father's Day, and when we tell Father's Day, we have to also include the mothers who are performing the functions of fathers. You get some absentee father, and therefore the mothers have to fit in. So belated Father's Day greetings to all of you. I hope you had a very productive day, interacted with your children, and they would have caused you to know how good you are and how good you have been to them. So yes, belated Father's Day greeting. And then we have over the past week, we had a very ardent follower, I must say, Jacko from Georgia, Ian. He celebrated a birthday, belated birthday. Greetings to you, Jacko. And then we also had Colin Bino from Borbies. He's Borbies. He also celebrated a birthday recently. Belated birthday. Greetings to you both, my friends. I hope you enjoyed the day. I hope you enjoyed your natal day and that I will live to see many, many more birthdays. And then for people like Colin and these cricket fans, I know Jakey was on since very early. I hope you followed the test match yesterday, the end of the test match between England and Australia playing for the Ashes. What a wonderful match. For us cricket lovers, that tells us that test cricket is here to stay, no matter what they do. No matter what they do, they talk about T20, they talk about 50 overs. In England, they talk about the 100. They can't beat a good test match. And that is exactly what we had yesterday. Imagine that, a great comeback. Australia 300 in the first day. They were able to declare 390 odd runs. Bowl out Australia for 7 less than that. And then they came and Australia bowled them out. And a lot of people felt to chase 281 in that period of time would have been very, very challenging. A lot of people felt so. But, buddy, that was a fantastic, fantastic game. The captain, Pat Cummins, raised his hands and did the job. So let's see where the series will go. I think the next match, they move to Lords, the home of cricket. So let's see where we go. Fantastic build-up to the series. So for you cricket lovers, I hope that you enjoyed the game. Yes, Gavin, great match. And as you said that, tomorrow morning, you got to be squeezing. West Indies taking on, who they taking on? They're taking on somebody tomorrow morning in this, the elimination games here. So it's trouble tomorrow because Nepal, they play Nepal. Nepal get Lamachani, a magician. So let me see how they are going to deal with that. So yes, those are on the that is on the lighter side. You know, I'm a cricket fan myself, so I gotta always bring you up to date with what is going on. You would have also noted that Bangladesh beat Afghanistan by a record number, 500 and something runs. They beat them by 500 and something runs. So Test cricket still going on nice. And then to be moving on, let me I'm gonna do the roll call. Let me bring in CC first, and then after CC, then I'm gonna do the roll call. Good morning to you, CC. Welcome.
Good morning, Paul. Nice to be in the land of the living. I express my.
Getting some audio. Yes, the audio issues continue. They are sure we're gonna tell us. Let me hear if you're hearing Mr. Conway well, folks. I know it's from early we are testing out and you had some audio issues, but it seems like the issues are still there. So right. So CC.
Yeah, so I'm happy to be here, although, there are some issues, but I hope that we're able to get to this again before.
Yeah, I heard you a little better there just now. Yeah, Aileen, I know you're a cricketer. I know you are a cricketer and you're a cricket umpire. I know one of the first female cricket umpires in Guyana. I remember that, Aileen. Yeah, so CC, I'm sure you want to join me in wishing a belated birthday greetings to those brothers and so on.
Yeah, especially Colin. And also I enjoy my Father's Day. My grandchildren bought me 2 books. One for Charlie Steele and one Steve Jobs. So what I'm doing, I'm reading one in the day and one in the night.
All right. Let's see, Ulrich just joined. Ulrich, yeah, welcome, Ulrich. I know you are a cricket fan as well. But let me do the roll call quickly as I can, given the numbers that we have. I'll try to do it as quickly as I can, and then we're gonna go into some real meat. So let me do the roll call. And people, as I said, people are here very, very early this morning. That is the usual trend, People turn up in class very, very early. And this morning, we had let me go through, and I'm gonna say as I said, we're gonna run it through as quickly as we can this morning. We had Aileen came in there at 5:31. Then let me tell you that some people were here even before, but apparently what happened with the platform, after a certain number of hours, they just roll it over and start back again. Then we had Melissa. Then we had Sharad. John was here next at 5:38, very early in class. Francis at 5:38 as well. Then we had Jakey. Jakey came in very early this morning. I want for her to sleep in the class, Jakey. Then Lynette from the UK, always ready and in class. Felisa, Floyd, we had Sydney, Sydney, we had Everett. Everett asked a question. Well, Everett, today is not a day for the answer to that question. I haven't forgot to you. But today is pace and power. Then we had Patricia. Then we had Pamela came in. Then after Paul from Canada, Paul, was nice speaking to you yesterday. Kevin came next. Then we had Annette. We had Machu. We had, after Machu, we had Isabella coming in there. Bonita was in class very early this morning. My squad mate, 9430, was here early as well. Then we had Vibert, 1966, came in early as well. Another old police, Granville coming in. Another squad mate of mine. Squad, you got to inbox me a number so I could make contact with you, man. Inbox me a number. He was here, he said from Melanie. Kudakwashi was here. Sean, ex-sergeant, was here as usual, early from New York, early this morning. Then we have Cecile, early. Vernon coming. We had Colin Sanford. Then we had Winston. We then had Kurt, Philip, George. You come little late this morning, boy, like you didn't get up early this morning. Watch it, George, watch it. Then we had 10025, Leon from Old TSU, man. Worked with me for years. Joan was here at 6:07, at 6:47 rather. Anthony Jarvis came in. We had the next Joan coming in at 6:56. We had Patricia. We had Winston coming in next. Hazel came in. Edward was here early in the schoolyard. All again. We had Desiree, not an early person. John is always here when the time for class. Maxine, Junior. Family music. Princess from Lamar Springs was here. Then we have Brennan, regular. Trotty, here. Tessa is in class. Colin is in class. Barbara is in class. Jacko, again, belated birthday greetings. Jakey, Wayne was here. Maureen, thanks. And Maureen is telling us, reminding us that she has her second eye surgery today. And Maureen, on behalf of the two lecturers, the two professors, and the students, those who are in class and those who are unable to be here now, we want to wish you all the best on your second surgery today. Then we had Lyndon from Patterson, New Jersey. Mandela Ghani was here. Frankie, my squad mate from Florida, was here 9551. Orin came next. Sagi, welcome Sagi, 9602. Jarvis, welcome. Welcome Rahim. Then another squad mate of mine, Carl from Arizona, 9414. Ral, Redman was here. We had Duan. We had Fort Valley came in early. See people, all of these people before we went live, you know. Then we had Balded. Lucius was here with us. Then my next squad mate, W349, my 100, Doreen. Clay Rose was here with us this morning. My boxing man friend, Shanghai was here. That's not that Shanghai, this is the next one. Then we had Jean. Cello came in next. Samuel. Johnny. Speaking Truth to Power was here. Bart. Magnell. Yvonne came in. We had Floyd. Vibert, man from the East Bank, was here as well. Floyd better known as Bangalang. When I say Floyd is Bangalang. Then we had our famous attorney Selwyn is here with us in class. He said 3 S's completed and he falling. Wonder how many people know what the 3 S's are in relation to what Selwyn has just indicated. You take the 3 S's and then you fall in and you for parade. Let me see the comments whether you know what the three S's are. Then we had Orin from the UK was here. Ether came in next. Brian, Colin, we had Don, Marvin, my villager and my cousin. Joyce was here. Philip, Lorna, welcome, old police Lorna. Then we had Evelyn. And the first on the Facebook, or I would say Facebook, was Orin. He came in. Then Tessa, welcome Tessa. Thank you very much. Tessa all the way from the UK. My countrywoman was here. Right. So we had William. We had Rohan. Rohan, welcome, Rohan. Rohan, welcome, 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 welcome. So those are some of the people, as I said, we're going to come back and deal with the people who are in classes. We have to recognize those persons. But let me move in to some of the issues at this stage. Let me bring back Mr. Conway into the studio. And I think the first thing I want to speak of, again, the road accidents continue. We have a report where a 26-year-old man from Vigilance died in an accident. And only this morning I was reading that a cyclist Monday night at Idroni Public Road, East Bank, Essequibo, for those of you who don't know where that is, something struck him and killed him. So you got it too. Then we had this incident on Lane Avenue where a big melee there pick up wood, lash a man in the head and kill him. And according to the report, in retaliation, the people in the area set the assailant's house on fire, burn it down flat to the ground. So you got street justice in the place. And this will happen when people start to lose faith and confidence in the system. So we had those deaths, and I want to express condolences on behalf of myself, my family, to the bereaved relatives of those two fatal accidents. Well, I shouldn't say the two persons who died on the road, because I know police have said that some are fatal accidents and some are incidents. Whatever they classify them as, two persons died on the road, and I want to express sincere condolences to the relatives, friends of those deceased persons. CC.
Yes, Paul, I'm here.
Yeah, so
Yes,
yeah, go ahead.
yes, I'm ready to go. I'm ready to go, Paul.
All right, good, right, good, well done, good. And then the next issue we want to talk about briefly before we go into this stink and dirty story with the minister interfering with the little picnic them. We gotta be real today. Minister, big man, big dirty stinking man. They gonna say it's an allegation, but all right, it's an allegation that he interfered with stink, dirty, he big stink and dirty, and interfering with the little picnic them. So that is what the allegation is. And I noticed a little picnic them. And I noted that some women have seen where during the course of last week it was that a woman was awarded $2.2 million over unlawful arrest by the police, arrest and detention by the police. This is West Coast Borbies. This happened during the investigation into the murder of the Henry boys. They arrested her, according to the complaint, had her in lockups there for 3 days. 3 days. She said, according to the thing filed in court, she was there in the lockups. She was on her menstrual cycle. No consideration for that. The cell that she was in had feces, human feces, and urine because the washroom was not working. All of that, and they kept that woman there for 3 days. And to crown it off, when all of that was finished, she wasn't charged with any offense. So she brought a civil lawsuit against the state, and the Chief Justice awarded her $2.2 million. Now, that is one of the problems you have, in my view. Something as egregious as that, and $2.2 million Guyana dollars for that type of violation, I don't believe it is fair and just. So let me get a breakdown. What did she? She was appointed $1.6 million for breach of her rights under Article 139, 100 and under Article 139 and 141, $50,000 for breach under Article 149, $350,000 vindicatory damages since the police had no reason for arresting her, and $250 as cost, a total of $2.2 million. CC, you want to make any comment on that?
I agree with you, Paul. I think the cost is too small, And or the Attorney General, I think, was yesterday on the news saying that he's going to go after those persons of the opposition who cost was awarded against them and they haven't paid up. I hope that you will pay up with this woman who had the case against the police. And also, there are many other persons who got judgment and the government ain't paying up any kind of money. So I hope vice versa, if you're going against them, you should ensure that the person who, who they were awarded costs, focusing on others, that they get the payment.
Well, he must also remember that the courts awarded costs or damages or whatever it is to these people, the managers of New Building Society, who were arbitrarily dismissed. You know the story. The people claim that when the then president wanted them to get money from the New Building Society to build the Bobby's Bridge, and they refused or they declined because it was not in keeping with the rules, they came after them, dismissed them. They got to court, they challenged the matter, they won the benefits and so on. I think one man get so much paid or something. And the court, the government appealed, and I think they lost the appeal, and they have not paid. My understanding is that they have not paid those persons. So if you're going to talk about going to get, which is a good thing, but you must also deal with that, as my colleague rightly pointed out. Don't be selective in that. Don't be selective. So I hope that the deal and the people get the money. I hope that the people get the money. Well, the story with Annette, I think they appealed that to $20 million default judgment. That is appeal, and that is what they're doing. So I don't know, he coming out with these statements, which are so, in my mind, very hypocritical based on the evidence before us. Now, moving on, CC, moving on, straight into the main story. Well, before I go to the main story, I saw in the news that 4 schoolboys from the Karasaba, Karasaba is an Amerindian area. I actually went on duty there on 2 occasions, and we used to call it Chateau's Land, because Karasaba was said to be a very tough place. Very tough place. I know at Karasaba, I was there with a certain man. He dead now, but we don't call him name. The man, punishment, we run out a ration. Car plane used to come there every fortnight. We run out a ration, and we were able to catch a turtle, a little turtle. So we get the turtle, and we kill the turtle, and we had little rice, and we make a little curry turtle and so on. So when it's lunchtime, the man will come up. He said, buddy, don't eat turtle, but bootlegger. You know what is bootlegger? When bootlegger brace, he said, show some gravy on the rice, man. I eat the turtle, but show some gravy on the rice. So the man take the gravy, and the man eat the thing. I can't eat any of the turtle. He just eat the gravy. So that is what we had. Karasabai. So the 4 schoolboys are charged with burning down that building. And then the issue. So those are the fillers. Or as Marlon Repender said, those are the sharks. We coming out to the main movie. This thing and dirty story, this allegation against the minister. Now let me go into it. Let me deal with the allegation. And CC, we can alternate this button. Now let me start off with talk about the allegation. I'm sure by now most persons would have seen or would have read, would have heard about this allegation. And basically the allegation is that the Minister of Local Government and whatever the portfolio is, Nigel Dharamlal, groomed this, this grooming started since she was 15. And then she's claiming that sometime last year, December, the government was specific. And let me say this before I go further. I read that statement or the report, or whatever you want to call it, 22 pages. Buddy, and I'm so proud of that young lady. Very articulate, very detailed. And I said to myself, as a former senior police officer with me FBI training and all of that, that is an investigator's dream in the way that statement was put, or that report or the missive from her was put together. Very detailed from all the time when she was groomed, all the instances, who were around, how she felt at certain times. All of those things are detailed in this wonderful statement, young lady, wonderful statement. Good language, and all of that. So, yeah, the report, the lady outlined that all of these things happened. Then the minister inviting her to the office or something. One occasion she went near the mother and he remarked, you're bringing me mother. And she then even explained when that statement was made, how she felt, right? And with the age disparity and all of that is contained. Then you have the why you bring your mother for. And then in December, she had to visit him again. She came to the Movie Town Mall. I mean, even before we go there, she explained to how she was cautious about him because she was warned by two persons. I think I hear one of them denying it now. She was warned to stay far from this man. Obviously, if they were saying that, they must know what this chap involving. That is how it thinks. So, all right. So she was warned. Then the lady said, the girl is saying that she get dropped when she came to the office with her parents and the way, or she murdered somebody, and the way she was treated. They were treated so nice that she felt, hey, this got to be the best minister. That is the grooming. That is classic grooming for those of you who do the training and these jagabats who they see a man telling me something ugly. Very glad that they're ugly because when you're ugly, you're not gonna turn Volkswagen. You know what? Is them nice guy like you that's turn Volkswagen. So I'm glad that I ugly. And because I ugly, I'm not gonna indulge in them wicked stink and dirty act. So yeah, man. So yeah. So and then the girl said she came down to the Movie Town Mall. They picked her up. Minister with his driver picked her up, took her to the place. The girl went so far as to describe the gate. Buddy, as an investigator, CC, you're going to take a piece of this just now, buddy. The girl described the gate, how the gate opens and all of that. She went into the place with the minister. The minister put her, or she went there with her brother, put her brother to sit down. Downstairs, turn on the TV. The brother is some 8-year-old, 9-year-old. One said 8, one said 9. Put him for watch TV. Loud TV turn up. Took her upstairs, and immediately the assault started. Immediately the assault started, right? And when she described the assault, buddy, even though as a man, I got so flipping mad. And then I recognized that this thing had nothing to do with sex. When you hear the description or when you read the description, it had nothing to do with sex. Because the girl alleges that from the time he got into the place, he wanted oral sex. He wanted her to perform oral sex on her. When that was done, he pulled down her clothes and so on, and he had vaginal sex with her. And then the girl said he turned she over and sodomized she. Look, this thing is so disgusting. And when he finished with that, the girl said he ejaculated on her back and then go so far to describe the quantum of 2 tablespoons full or some nonsense, wicked, stink and dirty man. And then he tells you, well, me's the first man for you because the girl was a virgin. Me's the first man for you. I own you. That is what is alleged. That is what is alleged. And people in this country talking about politics, this has nothing to do with politics. This is the behavior of a depraved and a sick mind, a sick person. Is the behavior of a sick person. So that is what the allegation. That is the allegation. See, let me bring you in for you to talk about the allegation, man.
Yeah, I read it, when it was graphic, it was very pellucid. And her description, she didn't say 2 tablespoons, she said 2 fat spoons of sperms on her back. And when I read the statement, and she used words that I went back to my text matter where the girl that raped said she felt excruciating pain and excruciating pain. She was very clear, concise in relation to what happened. And as you rightly mentioned, she was well groomed before the act was committed.
So, well groomed. So this wasn't a spontaneous thing. This is what we call a real setup over a period of time. And let me talk about the grooming. I got some notes here on the grooming. When we talk about the grooming, she said that the grooming, this pageant, where he was our sponsor. So that is how the relationship. And then you're going to ask the question, who organized for him to be the sponsor of this young lady? All of them perhaps were part of this whole scheme on this grooming thing. Then she talk about the visitor his office. She visited his office. Then I think she was going to school in Georgetown, or she got to be placed, and she wanted a transfer. And they had some difficulty getting the transfer, and he intervened. He intervened at the ministerial level and get her to be transferred to the secondary school on the Essequibo coast. Grooming again. Grooming set up, coming across as this nice and decent man. He arranged the transfer, giving her money on several occasions. The girl described that. He gave her money on several occasions, $60,000 on one occasion. She claimed on the day of the act, he gives you 60 and another 100,000 on that. That is what then he gave her money, the sponsorship, and it was classic grooming. It was classic grooming. If anybody understand what grooming means, now we are talking here for some of these. I see one or two amphibians, one or two cockroaches there on the live. When we talk about grooming here, we're not talking about cutting your hair and shaving your beard. That is not what we're talking about. So let me explain it for you, because some of you are so intellectually lazy and lack understanding that you might not understand what grooming is. You might not understand what grooming is. Basically, what grooming is when a man or a woman, as we say, set up a younger person, treat them nice in the initial stage, provide them with stuff so they can drop the guard. And once the guard is dropped, then they make them move. And in this case, criminal act. Because from experience, I would know, when I say experience, from the fact that I was a senior police officer and saw a lot of reports and so on, sometimes the grooming takes place and so on, and the act is performed, and then it becomes statutory rape, because many times the person actually gives in. But the law says that when you're below a certain age, below 16, you can't consent. And again, for these amphibians who are here, the law says that if you're under 16, you cannot give consent to sex, right? And that is what I call a presumption of law. It's a presumption. The law presumes that you are under the age of, you can't give consent. So once there's a presumption of law, you can't bring no argument to defeat that. You got presumption of law and presumption of facts. It's a presumption of law that a girl under 16 cannot give consent to sex. And it used to be 13, you remember? Some of you might not remember. It used to be 13 when the other businessman in Camp Street with a 13-year-old. And then following that, the law was changed to make it 16. So I got good memory, and I remember these things. I remember these things. So yeah, so that the thing. And you know, I wrote a letter in the papers on Sunday in terms of the president's response to this issue. And let me read. I make note because I know I want to miss anything today. So I've made some notes. So when you see me glancing, is because I'm referring to my notes. The initial response by the president, he said that he was awaiting statement of facts. The president is alleged, not alleged, because I heard it with my own ears. He said he's aware of some thing, but he's awaiting statement of facts. So I had to write a letter in the newspaper to tell the president that is not the way how it is done. Once an allegation is made, you can't say you're waiting for facts. You have to investigate to find the facts. You have to investigate to find the facts. So it's not a case where, as he said, oh, he's aware of it. What did you do? I know we did some research here, and I got to tell you about Watergate. For those of you who don't know Watergate, you hear Watergate scandal, Watergate building in D.C. That was the Democratic Party had their political headquarters there back in the 70s, and some people representing the Republicans broke in to steal documents and so on, and they were caught, right? And they were caught, and they had this big set of investigation. And a question was asked of President Nixon by a senator named Howard Baker. And this question is appropriate to be asked now. And the question is, Famously, the man asked him, what did the president know and when did he know it? In relation to this sexual or this rape allegation against the minister, because the young lady is saying she wrote to the president directly. I don't know. They haven't given, I don't think I'm aware of a proper timeline to say when this letter was sent to him, but he did acknowledge saying something, but he was awaiting statement of facts. The question is, again, I ask, what did the president know and when did he know it? When did he know it? I know for that whole thing, again, for those of you who know what's going on, it ended up with Nixon having to resign from office. The President Nixon had to resign from office, and he resigned in the face of criminal charges. And once he resigned, then the man who took over from him, Johnson, I think it was, pardoned him from all criminal charges. So we need to know what the president know, what did they do. And in all of this, he said that he informed the minister when he became aware of this. He informed the minister, and the minister denied the allegation. Oh, boy, the church might deny. So after the church might deny, I gotta believe what the church might. What nonsense is that? You informing the suspect that, hey, this allegation is made against you, that you raped a teenage girl, and at no time you say, well, look, at that stage, calling the police. Because one would have thought that if you're serious in dealing with this matter, from the time you became aware of it, or given that, all right, is one of your ministers, you can bring it to his attention. But where is the police in this? Where is the police to conduct a criminal investigation because the allegation is criminal in nature? Where is the police? They inform the police. Even as incompetent as we know the police to be, you have a responsibility to inform the police because they still are our leading investigating unit. As unsavory as that may sound, that is the lead investigating unit in the country to investigate criminal matters. They should have been informed. And then he got this what else? And then you got the initial. Let me bring in Mr. Conway to talk about the initial response of the president before I go on to the initial response of the Minister of Education. CC, let me hear your views on the initial response by the president.
I am shocked with the president's response. The thing is that the president has not shown any real command and control. He is the president, and he can't wait for facts because you gotta investigate first before you get facts. Oh, I think the first response he should have done here, calling the man who he appointed to act as commissioner using the doctrine of the antiquated doctrine of necessity and say, hey, you can, I want an investigation and report. That's how it's got to be done. And the president has the authority to start the investigation right away. He had enough to work on. He have enough to work on and say, hey, can investigate and let me have a report. Don't talk about no minister. That is a criminal thing. The minister and them to do with other social issues, but that's a criminal offense, and that is the rape. And let me read for you what the act says. And I have a copy of it. I have to jump in my library and find the Act number 7 of 2010. It's entitled Sexual Offences Act 2010. And here what it says, rape. Section 3.1, a person, in bracket the accused, commits the offense of rape if the accused engage in sexual penetration with another person, and in bracket they put the complainant, or 2, causes the complainant to engage in sexual penetration with a third person. B, the complainant does not consent to the penetration. And C, the accused does not reasonably believe that the complainant consents. And let me deal with what they call what is penetration. And this is very, very interesting in terms of penetration. Section 2H, penetration. Penetration means any intrusion, however slight and for however short a time, or any part of a person's body or any object into the vagina or anus of another person, or any contact, however slight and for however short a time between the mouth
of one person and the genitals or anus of another, including but not limited to sexual intercourse, cunnilingus, telitus, and intercourse and female to female genital contact, and where the penetration is by penis, the emission of seminal fluid is not necessary to prove the penetration. Penetration is a continued act from entry to withdrawal. And all those things in terms of penetration and rape is in that statement that the girl had given. So I don't know whether they jump in and saying it is not rape, it is not rape. The ingredients are there in terms of rape and penetration. And I'm saying the president should have taken affirmative action. Call his man who he employ as a commissioner and say, hey, investigate and report and take it from there. Not ministry or minister, as the case may be. The commissioner of police. And by the way, the commission is very silent. There's a wall of silence. I have not heard a word from the commissioner in relation to this allegation.
I don't wait to hear anything, Don't wait to hear anything at all. I told you all already. I have told this audience, see, we got a lot of people here to the record numbers. And remember when they had the allegation by Orin Bascom, the sergeant, about the cover up in the paper shots murder, they called a press conference to debunk. Imagine that. Yeah. They called a press conference to debunk and it backfired. Since then, they got media shy, camera shy. I don't think they've ever held another press interaction since then. They have never. So waiting for them to make a press, even the corporate propaganda unit that I would normally refer to, they make a couple line thing, and they're done. Normally that's right, like if they're writing for Hollywood. Not on this one. Not on this one. And having spoken about the reaction of the president, you get the reaction of the Minister of Education too. She said that she was going into some meeting, I think, when somebody flashed, she got some indication of this thing. And she called the chief education officer because she wasn't, information as to the name and all of those type of things wasn't provided. So she called him to them to get involved. And then he apparently then called the area, find out the place, find out the girl name. He made contact. Here they say, he made contact with the young lady, he says. And apparently they want her to travel to town for an interview. Imagine that, buddy. Imagine how these bloody people incompetent. I'm so pissed this morning. You make contact with a person who's alleging that she was raped by a minister, a 16-year-old girl. And you waiting, she couldn't go there, so she said she gonna come Monday. You have to get up off your ass and find somebody. First of all, you two have the responsibility to report it to the police. And if y'all want to conduct some investigation at the ministry level, y'all must get up. You should have gotten up from where you are in Georgia, in your air condition office, and find the appropriate people to go there and to interview, if that was what you wanted to do. And again, I say the police should have been called in. But they sit back and they're waiting. And the cover-up started since then. So had it not been for social media and so on, for this thing to be brought to the fore, it's a cover-up. There's evidence of cover-up. Evidence from the inception. From the time you did not inform the police as you are obliged to do. This is a juvenile person, a 16-year-old female, alleging that she was groomed since before she became 16 by a minister of government, a man in authority and power, came to your attention, and you'll see the criminal nature of this allegation to call the police and let the police start an investigation, even as you say you're going to want to do something else. This is disgraceful conduct, and all of them should pack up the thing and go. They all should pack up and go. I have no sympathy for these people. Cover up. And then let me move on before I bring in CC into this thing. And there's an important question for the investigators. I don't think it is any longer relevant because the girl has maintained the original story. But when they asked him to get her to recant, I wanted to ask the question: if when the chief education officer contacted her at that very early stage, At that very early stage, critical in an investigation, what did she say? Did she confirm? Did she tell them, no, this thing didn't happen? And once she did not tell them that this thing didn't happen, all them things what they was saying afterward to recant and all that, are we going to deal with the police officer who attempted to pervert the course of justice by getting this statement taken? We're going to deal with that. I'm going to deal with the law in relation to that. I'm going to deal with the law. We are firing this morning. We're firing this morning. So, and then they cover up. The cover up of this thing. I am saying that the fact that this thing came to the attention of the president, the minister of education, and the chief education officer, and none of them took the matter to the law enforcement authority, that to me is an indication that they didn't want the matter to be aired and didn't want the matter to be investigated. So I am saying that is part of the cover-up. I am saying that is part of the cover-up. And then we get this story here that the regional police commander, Kemraj Shifbarani name, commander of region police number 2, that is the Essequibo Coast, he is the commander there. But before I go into what he did, and this is not what he's alleged to have done, the document is there, which I'll show you in a while, with his signature on it. And some release issued by him, the Carly and the questioning, he actually admitted that he wrote this, or he took this statement, or he wrote this statement. I'm not sure what it is. But we have been telling you on this program for the longest while that there are some police officers. You know the story. Let me remind you that following the government coming into office in August 2020, at that time, both Mr. Conway and I were members of the Police Service Commission. The Police Service Commission, among its responsibilities, promotes person from inspector to assistant commissioner. The president wanted certain people promoted, right? Including some who had disciplinary matters. And the rule is that you can't be considered for promotion. So they do all sort of thing. They wanted to get you to the commission, so they concoct some stuff, trumped up charges. Me and Mr. Conway get we out of the commission, install a new commission. The court ruled, the Chief Justice ruled since August the 24th last year, that the commission is not properly constituted. And you will remember, I'm sure CC going to want to talk about this, that on the sidelines of the police officers' annual church service to the anniversary last year, 4th of July, the chairman of the Police Service Commission, the now chairman, I was the past chairman, Patrick Finley, he's a bishop, they say. He's a bishop. And bishop is not his surname. Bishop is supposed to be a religious title. He's a bishop. And he's not a bishop one. He's another bishop. He told the Guyanese public, the media, and the world, that the Police Service Commission, which he was chairing at the time, was not in a position to make promotions because they're looking at the files and all of that. That is on the 1st of July. The next day, the 2nd of July, they promoted how much hundreds of people, including people who left the work, people who one person get promoted twice to do 2 different ranks. That's why you had Shipran and them get promoted then. And I have said too that there was a concerted effort to position people at the divisional command levels. So right now, you have Police Regional Division 1 is an Indian in charge. And here, this is not talking race, this is talking facts. The people are put into position that they have not been trained, and in my view, they're not qualified, and I know them. So when I say they're not qualified, I know what I am talking about. They're not qualified academically, they're not qualified by attitude or otherwise, right? Starting from the man who's sitting in the chair at the top. They put them in this position. Region 1, Region 2 with the same Shipbaran, Region 3, Region 4C, is, which is East Coast, Region 4B, which is East Bank, Region 6, which is West Coast Bobbies, Region, which are the other region? Right now, Region 8, all of those persons, they put them in this position. And I am saying, without any fear of successful contradiction, that the reason why these people are put into these positions is so just what you see happening here now. So that when the friends, families, and favorite commit themselves, they're going to get a certain they're going to do a certain course of action. Certain things are going to happen. As we saw in this matter, where Superintendent Chief Baran is taking, or he took a statement and nearly got on the thing and said, I'm taking. Years ago, I was a big, Tessa, you would know, I used to run bingo every Friday night, bingo in the National Park. And then somebody, that a man named, was two of them, George, and the next guy used to call the bingo. And the next guy was calling at this time, and then he interrupted the thing over the PS, called out somebody name to tell them that their child has taken ill. They need them at home only. The child has taken ill. So I almost give you a token there. I almost give you a token there just now. Yeah, so they were put in these positions, many positions. I'm going to read them all now, but let them try to rebut or debunk or to challenge what I'm saying. They're put into the positions. Remember, you get, look at the one West Coast Barbies, even though that wasn't one of those forces who were installed, where he named Ozzy Rogers, assault a woman with the gun, lashing the head, nothing. The man jump on the plane the next day, so ban. You get the man at Region 9, let him, shoot a woman, another Amerindian indigenous woman, make a tackle upon she end up getting a shot, nothing, and happen with them. You get people in Borbies, fatal accident, a member of parliament or a farmer member of parliament, nothing. You got a man in the Ministry of Finance, a big, hot man, I can't tell you, Lewis, if you want to see a TV, you got to get 2 TV for watch the one person, right? He knocked down and killed somebody, nothing. So that is what you have happening here. And on the flip side of that, and we're going to talk about it more too, on the flip side of that, as soon as certain people are alleged to be involved in anything, you catch a 72, you catch some trump-up charge, are you there before the court, running land. In the case of myself and Mr. Conway, we were charged on the 19th of May, 2021. And you would not believe up to now, the matter can commence in the court. Up to now, the matter can commence in court. And we want the thing to go. We ain't running to nobody for beg and say, well, give you a break. And no. We want the matter. We are anxious to have the matter ventilated. In my case, the matter is ventilated in court. We are running from nothing. We are not running from anything at all, right? But let me tell you about Chibaran. Let me put up the statement, and I'll get Mr. Conway to deal with this thing more. Let me put up the statement, and let Mr. Conway come to deal with this statement. Which one? Let me see. Did I have it here? Let me bring in Mr. Conway. Mr. Conway, come in and talk, and I'm going to find this thing, and I'm going to...
Okay, before I get in the statement, this is a matter involving a juvenile, a young girl, and there you have sheer big old men dealing with her, starting from the allegation against the minister. And then you have where the chief education officer dealing with her. They don't have any female to deal with them. There's no female touch, a very sensitive matter. And I get male interviewing the female. Male interviewing the female. And let me just recap in terms of the pastor, the bishop resurrected Dr. Peter and invoked the Peter principle, promoted a lot of incompetence. As you rightly say, Paul, and I gotta repeat it, on the Friday before, he said he didn't get any, he was waiting on the recommendations of the commissioner of police before make promotion, and on the Saturday, 250 something at persons promoted, people who left the work, people get promoted to all those persons were promoted. And a member of the service commissioner asked, man, we're not going to look at files. He said, files? The legislative chairman said, files? We ain't dealing with files. I was instructed that whatever the police send, we must promote. And so the file with the recommendation went, they didn't add, alter or correct anything, and it went back the same way, promoting a lot of incompetence, and there's what we get happening now. Well, let me think of the statement. If you could put up back the statement, Paul.
Let me put up the statement. Here is the statement.
All right. You want to read it? I can't read it
No,
clearly. You want to?
no, well,
Yeah.
me too. I can't
All
really
right,
read it
all right,
properly.
all right, all right, all right, all right. I did a bit of statement analysis, in my training at the FBI, and it was fun. I remember I did if I did statement analysis, and the woman used to say, used to give us Louis Freeze, the director of the FBI, some of his statements, some of his memos to analyze. But get back to Shibboran. Couple of things. Well, Shibboran took 3 hours, 35 minutes, 3 hours and 35 minutes to get 11 lines from the victim. 3 hours and 35 minutes to get 11 lines in the statement. Now, I don't know how the commander get involved in getting statement. That is not the commander's work. That is for those junior person. And no attempt was made, Paul, to protect the identity of the victim, contrary to section 62.1 and 62.3 of the Act. And let me just allow me to go into it. 62.1, 62.3. I have it before me. And here it said, the publication of any document or the broadcasting or transmission anyway of any information that will identify the complainant or witness to an offense on this act is prohibited. And three, saying every person who publishes any document or broadcast or transmit in any way any information that will identify the complainant or the witness contrary to section 1 commits an offense and is liable to summary conviction to a fine of $2 million. Now, anybody reading that 11 line pages will tell you that he gave information where the mother was working, where the father was working, which school the girl going to. She was in a pageant and all kind of thing. And any reasonable person with that bits of information would be able to identify that person. And the law says that you should not do that. No witnesses signed the statement. They said witnesses, not one body signed the statement. They put some names of two persons who were witnesses, but none of them signed it. The girl did not admit or did not say clearly that the minister raped her, or she did not deny that the minister raped her. All it says, you see a certain document and with no details whatsoever, That should have been in the statement. And even apparently the statement wasn't read over to her. I know we used to do sort of it. I've read the above statement. I've been told I could add, alter, or correct anything I wish. This statement is true and correct. I've made it of my own free will. So nothing was read over to her. And confidentiality. How this thing was leaked? How this thing was leaked? Perhaps the only thing confidential is the RAS report that the minister said they got at Home Affairs. How did the commander himself take the statement? And wasn't there a female somewhere along the line? A female detective or somebody takes it, but the commander himself. Perhaps he was directed to take the statement. Perhaps somebody called him and said, hey, take a statement. And he has a right to refuse. According to Article 38G of the Constitution of Guyana, it says the integrity of public service is guaranteed. And here it is, no officer shall be required to execute or condone irregular acts on the basis of higher authority. So many things went wrong. And I want to believe, knowing the record of the commander, knowing his career, perhaps I could put some money in it. This is the first time in his career he has taken a statement from somebody. I repeat, perhaps this is the first time in his career he has taken a statement from somebody. That's why the whole thing go wrong. The whole thing is a mess. The whole statement is a joke, Paul. It's a
Well,
complete joke. And yeah.
well, yes, let me add some more because again, I get it here on the phone. I can read it. He take the statement, and I hear he claiming he know the thing leak out and so on. But if he's the one, based on what he says here, he's the one that took the statement. He got to tell us how it was leaked. because he took the statement, he claimed that the statement was taken in the presence of the parents. So how this statement leak out? And as I said, this is a poor thing. The man, as you rightly pointed out, the man take over 3 hours to take couple line. And you know, and you see, I analyze the statement too, you know. And the first thing they tried to establish in this statement, that she was not below the age of consent. That's the first thing. So he put when she was born. In other words, to establish that at the time when this incident is left of occurred, she was above 16. She just passed 16. So they went to pain to put that there, right? And then he talked about a lot of crap about Nigel Dharamlal. Me and how Dharamlal get into this thing. And the question I really want to ask, if you're saying, because the president and all them saying, oh, they're not going to report. Now, if you don't have a report, on what basis you're taking this statement? On what basis you are taking this statement if there's no report in the system? And I'm sure that up to now, you're not going to find any report at the divisional headquarters there in relation to this thing. And I'm saying, and this is policing, that if perchance, let me, for argument's sake, the lady come to say she recanting something, you got to say what she recanting. You have to say what was the story that was first told, and to say, well, that story is not true. But these people are so incompetent, as I've said again, they're put there for these purposes. When things like this happen, they run to cover up. The politicians will close ranks and instruct them. The man from the office, you call it southwest of Camp Street, tell them do this, do that, and they will do it. He is saying, they're saying they're going to report. This thing is taken on the 16th. There is no report, but yet still you are taking a statement to recant. So what are you doing? What are you doing? You think we're big and stupid? We might be big, but we ain't stupid. We went to that university. We did not go to that university. Just for all them cockroach and all them amphibians, we ain't got to the university. And let me deal with this some more. The officers some more, Mr. Conway, permit me. Let me refer to my notes again. The statement is purportedly taken in the presence of our parents. I come to get 16 lines, right? And according to E, it was done between 11:40 and 15:15 hours. Listen to this, folks. A statement that you saw there just now, over 16 lines altogether, including Franklin, you asked the question, who witnessed the statement? Nobody. The man said it was taken in the presence of these people. Nobody had witnessed the statement. A statement taken from a rape, a person who's accused of being raped, 16-year-old, and nobody had witnessed this statement, right? And then he says here, the man, this is what he said in the statement. This statement was taken between 11:40 and 15:40 hours, 15 hours. So you talk about 3 hours and 35 minutes to take the statement. What else happened in that period of time? And I am of the view, again, based on what he has said, the length of time, 3 hours and 35 minutes, that it wasn't just a taking a statement, it was coercion. It's an attempt, as I said clearly, to pervert the course of justice, to get this young lady, to pressure the young lady to recant the statement. And the Sexual Offences Act dealing with this thing, he should not be taking the statement. He should not be. What they don't have people who are trained. I know there is talk about this gender-based and this thing, domestic violence unit and all of those things that they were establishing at the time. So what happened to those persons who are trained, where they don't have any female qualified person to sit this young lady down if it is that she wants to make a statement? I think that the reason why this superintendent jumped in there is because it's part of the cover-up. Either he did so on his own volition, or he was instructed to take a statement from the young lady and her parents. And he did just that. Again, he did just that. But I want to remind them that in matters like these, you can't say that you were given orders by a superior. The order, if at all he was given an order, would have been clearly illegal. And he, a commander of a police division, ought to have known that, look, this thing can't be done like this. Ought to have known. But tell them to jump And they ask you, oh, why? Because they don't have the competence. They are put there. They are put there. So I said, yeah, I'm saying, let me bring in the next slide there, CC, and show you what the law says. What the law says about things like this. Is this the right one? No, this is not. This is not the right one. Let me bring in the next one. Let's bring in the right one. Y'all bear with me today. Today is a day where nothing will be all right. Look at this, folks. Look at this. This is the Criminal Law Offences Act, Chapter 81 of the Laws of Guyana. On Section 329, Section 329 of that act says, read it for yourself, read it, that everyone who conspires with any person to obstruct, prevent, pervert, or defeat the course of justice shall be guilty of a misdemeanor liable to imprisonment for 2 years. It is clear to me that what the commander do, based on what we are saying there, he attempted to obstruct or to prevent or to pervert the course of justice. And therefore, he should be investigated with a view to taking criminal actions against him. That is what he did. And here what section, the same thing, the next section says, every person, read that, every person who willfully attempts in any way, though not otherwise criminal, to obstruct, prevent, pervert, or defeat the course of justice or the administration of the law shall be guilty of a misdemeanor and liable to imprisonment. I think it's about 1 year. That is what it is. And when you analyze what he has done, it is clear that the commander attempted to, for you who understand this thing, he was involved in an attempt to prevent the matter from going forward, perverting the course of justice. And there is a criminal charge under Section 329 of the Criminal Law Offences Act of Guyana. It is a criminal charge, and I'm waiting to see what will happen. And let me read this next one to you too. The next one here deals with obstruction of prosecution. And this is under the Sexual Offences Act. A person can be charged with this offense if they, one, prevent a child from, one, giving a statement to the police. Read that again for yourself. The person can be charged with obstruction of prosecution if they, the offense, if they prevent a child from giving a statement to the police, or prevent him from giving evidence for paper committal. We're going to talk about that a little later. Or prevent the person from testifying in court. All of those things are criminal charges. And then the commander is alleged to have said when he was interviewed by the news that, oh, no, he didn't do that. And he acted professionally. You know, he can recognize the word if he see it. This alone tells you, sir, and I think I should call you, sir, because you got a rank superintendent. This alone tells you or tells us that you are not fit and proper, to use the former president phrase, to be in the position you hold. And I'm saying that this warrants an investigation with a view to taking the appropriate action against this commander who clearly was involved in this corrupt act. So, CC, let me hear you on this a little further on this.
Yeah, and in today's Tabruk, they quoted the commander saying that he's not aware of what was being posted on social media and the allegation. So he's taking a statement from this little girl and he's not aware of what the allegations were. Imagine that. And then, showing incompetence. You're telling me in this modern age that the commander doesn't read the newspaper, doesn't check the television, is not aware of what is going on in the other police divisions? We used to do, Paul, we used to do what we call environmental scanning. You scan what is going on in your division, and then you scan what is going on in the other divisions. That commanders used to talk. Hey, this is what's happening here. And the police got a thing whereby things does go wrong. You might hear in a scribble of a prisoner escape today, and the next couple of days another one escaping Georgetown. So when you hear one escaping Barbados as a commando, and you're in another division, you put systems in place to ensure that no prisoner escape from your division. So perhaps he's not doing no environmental scanning, both internal and external. And it's important for commanders to talk to know what is going on, but perhaps the synergy isn't there. And the commander can't tell me, and he can't say, I can't believe that he was not aware what was the allegations being made against the minister. No way. And then he gonna take a statement from the little child. No, Paul. So
Well,
it is totally.
you say you're
I can't
perfectly
even want to
correct.
describe it.
You're perfectly correct. If you're not aware, you say you know about this story. You know about this story, and you're taking a statement. On what basis then? I ask the question again. On what basis are you taking the statement? On what basis? And to make a statement like that, a superintendent of police, and when you compare that to the statement of the 16-year-old rape victim, body is cheese to chalk. The girl was so eloquent. The girl was so straightforward, proper language and everything. And you get this commander come to tell the Guyanese public, oh, I didn't know what the allegation was, but I still taking the statement from her. 3 hours and 35 minutes. According to the commander, she in this office, 3 hours and 35 minutes. And you want to tell me that you know what this thing all about? You don't want to, that too is incompetence. That too, if you know what it's about, and the young lady came there with her parents, how did she get there? Who sent her? All of these are questions to be asked. Who sent her? How did she arrive at the police headquarters to meet with the commander? Was she summoned? Did she come there on her own? Did her parents force her to come there? And I ask that because the next thing I have here is that allegation of $10 million paid to the
Paul, before you go into that, and according to the commander, he was showing a screenshot. So what screenshot he see? He was showing a screenshot. The screenshot is talking about rape and everything there. And then let me just add in a couple of things where you mentioned 3 hours, 35 minutes. The time he took to take that statement. I asked the question, where were the parents? Were the parents sitting outside of his office, and he alone in that office with a girl? It reminds me of a story that happened in Myconi, in the early 70s. Some parents took the daughter to the police station and reported that a boy had raped her. And this detective had to investigate. And he had her alone in the office. And during the investigation, during the questioning, the grilling, when it should have been interview, she broke down and said the boy didn't rape she. He said the parents came in and find them naked skin, but nothing then happened yet. They had no penetration or anything. And the police say, hey, let me tell you something. You wasting me time. You wasting government stationery. And you making a false report here. As you say, rape, as the parents say, rape is rape. And furthermore, you got to give me a little sex. And he screwed her. He had sexual intercourse with her. And then he got a female to escort her to Dr. Harry Charan, the GMO, who examined her and found sperms and all kind of thing, and so found evidence of sexual activity. I'm not saying that happened in a scribble, but it's open up you open up to a lot of questions being asked. 3 hours, 35 minutes to write a 11 line statement from a girl. Oh crap, man! What really happened there? What played out there? It opened up your imagination to look at things. Continue, Paul.
Yeah, and I'm saying this $10 million because again, that is a crime in itself as part of this whole cover-up thing. And let me tell you all something too about the crime. I think I have it somewhere. If I find it, I can show you all. Is that is part of the cover-up, and that can be, a person can be associated with a crime in 3 ways. As a principal in the act, in this case, Dharamlal is the principal. You can also be associated as an accessory before the fact and an accessory after the fact. So, for example, I have it here to ask the question: what was the level of involvement of the driver? Would he be investigated to see if he was an accessory before the fact? The persons who did the procurement of this young lady and all that, similarly. So I am saying that apart from the rape and the buggery that took place, and I'm saying buggery because this is what the law says. So those of you who are school children and decent people, as you would want to say, Clark is, because the law and talk about sodomy, the laws of Guyana speaks about buggery being a crime. So, and again, I'm chucking it real today. Real. So that is what it is. So the story is all of those persons, and I hope that this investigation that we understand that is taking place will cover all of those things. Not only the depraved act by the minister, but this $10 million car, people said they see in the area afterwards. He busy. He busy looking for cover up and the thing money pay in 2 tranches. The girl even explained that when they came down. The girl said that in one of the statement or subsequent statement or supplement post I saw. When she and the parents came down, apparently part of this settlement, she remained in the car and the parents went in. And then she said that the parents then come and said the man want to see you because the man want to apologize in front of you. And then the man got up on the knee or something and apologized. I said the devil, they're blaming the devil for everything, They're blaming, I know they said the devil busy, but it's everything. He said the devil overcame him. And that is why he did what he did. So I am hoping that when they do this investigation, all of these things are revealed. As I indicate, when I got on a little late in my notes, we're going to talk about the investigation and what should be done. We are going to talk about that too. So I am saying that the people who say, or if it is that they collect money to cover up this thing. And again, because when you look at the Criminal Offences Act and they talk about accessory after the fact, they talk about people who cover up. They use the word cover up. They cover up. So if you're covering up, you're an accessory after the fact and should be prosecuted, investigated, and prosecuted. So let me understand. Now moving on. Let me talk about this administrative leave thing, man. Let me talk about this administrative leave thing, what the president said. Currently, the president released from the president, the minister who is accused of raping a 16-year-old girl made a request to him, the president, to proceed on administrative leave. You ever heard nonsense, sir? Again, the president said that the minister who is accused, Dharamlal, accused of raping this 16-year-old girl, requested to be sent on administrative leave and he allowed. First of all, let me tell you, I did my research. I don't come here and just stop. The administrative leave thing is a provision in the Public Service Act for public servants. A minister of government is not a public servant. Let me understand this thing clearly. A minister of the government is not a public servant, so he can't get administrative leave. He cannot get administrative leave. And while we are talking about this administrative leave, let me explain to my audience, record numbers today, man, record numbers. Let me explain. It simply means that this man ain't going to work. This man could stay home and go wherever he wants to go. He still gets his salary. He still gets all the trappings of his office. Maybe he's still going into the office and do whatever he got to do. He gets the government car, gasoline, allowance to telephone. He still gets all of those things. He's a member of parliament as well. So he gets all the trappings. This administrative leave thing, what they're talking about. Mr. President, the minister could be asked to resign. Failing which, the minister should be replaced, dismissed. And not only as a minister, from parliament as well. Imagine this man is in parliament, so he's a lawmaker. People in the parliamentarians are the ones who make the law. And this is what the lawmaker is doing. This is not the lawmaker. Again, I say, don't make this act so egregious. This is a teenager, brilliant. Look, I don't know the person. I have never seen her. But when you look at how she expressed herself in writing, better than most of them jokers who hold in command position and most of them who hold in ministerial positions. She expressed herself better than most of those. And she ought to be complimented. She ought to be complimented. I would say, based on what she wrote, she is brilliant. She is she got a brilliant mind. And this man wants to destroy this young lady. And remember, let me remind you that, she's so brave to come forward. We had an issue, I think it was in 2021, last year it was, where a young lady alleged she was raped, a young lady from the East Coast alleged that she was raped, right? She sent to thing, the driver, tie she, rape she go home, she tell she mother. They made a report to the police station at Covanjan. Covanjan said, well, Covanjan want vigilance arrest the man because the man live in Vigilance Station District. And the upshot is that the police, you wouldn't believe this, but this is what was done. The police, a male police, I think they had a female sergeant there as well, interviewing this, she was 18 years old, this rape victim, in the presence of the accused. Let me repeat that, man, because I checked back, I had written a letter about it. A rape victim, an 18-year-old rape victim, is being interviewed in respect to what took place in the presence of the accused person. The man sit down right there. And this girl is made to recount all the trauma that she had. I know what happened. The girl go home and kill herself. The girl went home and she killed herself. So again, I say that to say the courage that this young lady in this case has shown ought to be commended. And I hope all the necessary support is provided to her. Because I can imagine, I'm a man, men does get raped too. I never get raped. But I could tell you the way how this young lady chronicled this activity. Just put your mind to it. You're not going to be a woman to understand the trauma that this young lady would have gone through. Trauma or forced experience, as she said. And this is what happened. I know when you look at picture and all them type of thing, you read and think, them thing that flip, get some people flip, They want to see man, it goes to kill you and all sort of thing. All because of act like these. So I am saying that this thing when I talk about what administrative leave cannot wash. And let me read some things. Put it in context. Talk about administrative leave. I say kill public servant. President should have asked him to resign. As President Desmond Hoy did, when an allegation was made against one of his ministers, a rape allegation, Desmond Hoy said he would leave immediately. Asked him to resign. And when the investigation was completed and he was exonerated, I think he was brought back. Leadership, President Ali, leadership. And then let me tell you the next one. Minister, and I'm reading there, the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Rashley Jackson, in 1991, resigned from office. You know why? Because his Rastafarian son was found and charged for possession of marijuana. Let me go back that. Minister of Foreign Affairs, Rashley Jackson, 1991, voluntarily resigned because his Rastafarian big man son, Rastafarian son, was found with charged with possession. And I'm making the emphasis in possession, not trafficking or anything like that. So yeah, the Rasta, you get his spliff or whatever amount you get, but it could not have been a big amount to be charged with possession. And Rashley Jackson resigned, and he said he resigned because he felt morally bound to do so. And he never wanted to be an embarrassment to the government. And President Ait said that he was reluctantly accepting the resignation. Leadership. Mr. Conway, let me bring you in to show some light. Leadership. Let me hear your views on this.
I agree with you. And don't tell me nonsense about administrative leave. That is where the president should have called it, as you already said, call for his resignation, or if he didn't resign, you fire him. So he's a political appointee. He's not a public servant. He's a political appointee. And I remember Boredom in the 1973 or thereabout, he made a speech. He said, comrades, politics doesn't have rules. You play it as you see it. Today's right, tomorrow it may be wrong. It is not for Sunday school teachers. And then he ended up by saying, and comrades, he who is politically appointed will be politically disappointed in the present context. Darren Lam should have been politically disappointed, and the president has to show leadership, has to show courage. Hey, you allegations against you, go along your way. If it's proven true, we can take you on back. And that's how we gotta be. That the president did not show any amount of leadership, any amount of real leadership. They're hustling to cover down and to cover down and cover down. The president waiting on statement of facts. How you get statement of facts and you don't investigate? You have to investigate first and then you get a statement. And coming back to confrontation with the victim, here's what section 42 of the Act says, 42.1. Where a report is made of an offense under this Act, at no point during the investigation shall the complainant be required to recount the complaint or any part of it in the presence of the accused unless the complainant wants to do so. And section 2 saying the complainant shall not be required to view or to be in the presence of any person referred to in the complainant as having perpetrated any offense under this Act, save for the purpose of an education parade, and then only by way of audio or visual link, by way of two-way mirror, or any other manner sensitive to the complainant's well-being. The thing is that they could call for no confrontation. And I read this morning papers that the police went and searched the minister's residence.
Don't jump the gun. Sissy, don't jump the gun. We're going to talk about that just now. We're going to talk about that. I got listen to talk about, man.
All right, good.
Don't jump the gun. Yeah.
All
So,
right.
Coming back to this thing with the thing, and then you're perfectly correct in what you say. No confrontation. Well, I don't know that there was a confrontation. I don't know that it was a confrontation in this matter, but the law prevents a confrontation. And I'm saying that what took place at Covanjan last year, with the interview being done in the presence and airing of the accused person, is contrary to the law. And I think somebody was charged in that matter. But one would have thought that following them, they would have learned. But they don't want to learn. They don't want to learn. Apparently there's nobody to teach them. So let me go now to the minister turning himself in company with his liar. Now, before we go, full disclaimer, Mr. Nigel Hughes is representing me in the matters that I have before the court. Very competent liar. So he is representing me, full disclosure. But I can still tag the thing. People say that, well, let me say this. First, his choice of liar. He went for Nigel Hughes. Very prominent, competent liar. I'm smiling because this man cuss out Nigel Hughes terrible on social media. How Nigel Hughes dance, Nigel Hughes can't count. All of these things this man get. And he left all of them bright liars, according to him, all the bright ones who are his colleagues. He left them and he got to Nigel Hughes. And one of the reasons I believe that he went to Nigel Hughes is because when you are in trouble and you're facing jail time, you want the best. You forget about politics. So you forget about politics then. You forget about politics. You forget that Nigel Hughes dance. He gone to Nigel. I mean, if I were Nigel, I wouldn't take the case, but I'm not a trained liar. And I listened this morning and I've been listening. People say, look, when you're a liar, you have a moral obligation to represent people. Dr. Hines did say this morning, even murder accused. People commit for murder, you gotta represent, because you're not necessarily seen to get them off. You're making sure that they have a fair trial. That is what you're there to do. So, people jump up and say all sort of thing, but a liar, I mean, we got a lot of corrupt liars around the place, and Nigel Hughes is not one of those. A lot of corrupt liars, but I'm saying that the purpose of the liar, according to my understanding, is to ensure that his client gets a fair trial. And that's it. So when you get a fair trial, and due process and all of that, let me see, but you got to Nigel Hughes, significant to me that he in trouble, he facing jail time. And then here now on, then well, Lorleen, yeah, they can refuse to on certain grounds and all this other thing. You can. But as I've said, if I were him, I would say, nah, boy, I still dance. And you don't really want a dance man to help you. Go and take one of them bright buy, or be into QC and all them things, bright buy and bright girl. Take the ones that you took before. I can tell you all about them later. A firing this morning, a firing. When he faced criminal charges before, he took a certain set of people. You go back to them this time. You ain't go back to them this time. Come to Nigel Hughes, right? Come to Nigel. So, you know, and then I says the man, interestingly, only a couple of days ago, not so long ago, the vice president, the man from the Sugate, Bar Jack Deal, the allegation, remember allegation made against him with the Sugate? Incidentally, there's a thing around now 1 year past since the allegation made, the Sugate allegation. 1 year. And for those of you who don't know, Sue is a Chinese man who was his tenant and who said in the Voice News on the cover report that he does collect bribes to give contract and so on. That is the allegation by Sue Jerome. He Sue, and Sue can't be found since then. This place nice, man. He Sue. He SUE, and up to now, they can't find Sue. Sue disappeared, right? Sue has disappeared. So he said, not so long ago, that I'm reading the thing, he said that he tell Nigel Hughes only represent criminals. The vice president is alleged to have said that Nigel Hughes only represents criminals. So maybe that is why Dharamlal got to Nigel Hughes. Yeah, you think I had a real, this is a civilized plantation, yeah? This is a civilized plantation. That is what he said. I said, now that he's in legal jeopardy and he's facing significant jail time, he wants the best, so he run to Nigel Hughes. Mr. Conway, what is your take on that?
As you rightly said, you know, the lawyers have the opportunity to really to accept or not to accept. And they're not really to decide whether the person is guilty or not. It's to see that justice is done, that the rule of law is maintained. And I know Mr. Nigel Hughes, well, you know, excellent lawyer. And if I can afford to pay him, I got a kids and I could afford to pay him some money, I pay his fees. But the thing is that, you know, he run, and as you say, he run to Nigel Hughes. And as you rightly say, what the vice president said, it's only criminals Nigel Hughes represent. So the thing is that, you know, that he's innocent until proven guilty. And he has a right to go to whichever lawyer he wants. But it's up to the
Mr.
lawyer to
Conway,
accept it.
again, you're talking about the presumption of innocence. That only applying selectively. I'm here to talk about the presumption of innocence. We're going to talk about it too. I'm going to talk about that. As I said, nothing is going to be left untouched this morning. Nothing.
Yeah.
Yes, Sean said this thing getting sweeter and sweeter. Yeah, we becoming real today. Right? Let me say this here now to go on to the other. Let me talk about the issue of bail. Let me talk about the issue of bail. The man turns himself in, and he is made to, well, let's say he's been a couple hours at the police station. According to the release from the police, and I think from the lawyer, is that he was put on $1 million bail. Sometime during the course of the night, that would have been around 9, 10 o'clock in the night. I never heard that yet in my 37 years at the police force that people taking that amount of money as bail in the night. Wonder what to do with the money when it was taken, if at all money was lost. Because one of the questions you have to ask, he put on $1 million bail, and you know the average man ain't gonna understand this. Was money lodged? Was money lodged? That is important. Or they just say that, hey, this man they're on bail. Mr. Pajram, your name Kalin. Mr. Pajram is the commander, assistant commissioner Pajram, Khalil Pajram. He's the commander at Brigdam. They're now holding on for McBean. So let me understand this thing. Mr. Pajram, your name Kalin. Was money lodged in this Dharamlal case, this $1 million bail? Was money lodged? Or this man just signed a recognizance to come back? And are you saying that money lodged? Talk to me. Talk to me. My journalist friend and them should ask them type of question. Was money lodged? And maybe you might even want to go so far, if money large. What is the GR number? And for those of you who know, GR is general receipt. Because once money large, you got to get a GR, you got to issue the receipt, and you can then the book. Why look, I tell some people I would have liked to be in a position where I could do some investigation in this thing. You say money large, let me see the GR with this money large. And the man is still on bail. Was this money disbursed to the police finance office? Because the police regulation said that you can't keep the amount of money at the police station for no length of time. So if the money was large on Sunday, you have to go to the finance office with your thing, and you hand it over to them. And folks, that's why many times when you take bail, you go to the police station and you lodge bail, $50,000, whatever amount it is. You go back maybe a month or so after when the matter done or when something, you got to run around at the police finance office because the police at the stations can't keep the money. They can't keep the money. They have to send the money to the police finance office. So you have to go through the whole process. They pay it in and all of that. So that's why it takes some time. So in this case, I want to know what to do with this $1 million. If at all money was large, or if some people are suggesting that the man just sign a recognizance, if at all he sign a recognizance to come back the next morning, yesterday at 8:30 or something. This thing sweet, bad. And it got this sweet because you're dealing with people who are incompetent. And if you get the knowledge and you can dissect and you can see through some of these nonsense where they tell you, you understand. So bail. And let me say this about bail. And I made a note about it. A person who is arrested is generally you're entitled to bail. You're entitled to bail. There's a case recently out of Trinidad from the Privy Council, which even murder accused can be sent on bail and in certain circumstances. We have a case in Guyana some years ago where the late Chief Justice or Acting Chief Justice Ian Chan ruled that the man should get bail because I think that was a case where the man was committed to stand trial, and from session to session to session, the man been in there for a long time. And Chief Justice Ian Chan, I think it was, said, look, this man should go on bail. So yeah, even in murder cases, in certain circumstances, a person can get bail. But let me tell you, we know that the Guyana Police Force, the current administration of the Guyana Police Force, have weaponized this bail issue. So normally you get arrested, 72 hours. Takuma Ogunsi, Roxanne Mears, Trevor Ben, and so many others who are never flight risk or anything like that, arrested, you have to spend 72 hours, and then you're either sent on bail or you're taken to before the court. 72 hours. Then I remember walking there, he spent a couple hours, and then he walk out back. Different folks and different strokes. That's what we're saying. Different folks, different stroke. So the story is, with this bail story, yeah, you can grant bail, but it's how they have weaponized this bail. And I am saying this, before I bring in Mr. Conway to talk about this bail issue. I am saying this. In the case of Nigel Dharamlal, the Minister of Regional Development and all of that, the police would have had good grounds to deny him that bail. Because having regards to the fact that allegation was made that he paying money for down the matter, that could have been used. Witness tampering, intimidation of the victim. Those are grounds, solid grounds to say, hey, we ain't giving you no bail, at least at this initial stage, because I can very well imagine that this is not going to done within the investigation within Central for you to charge. So it can go on. But at that initial stage, there would have been sufficient grounds. Because this is a man who is alleged to have paid $10 million to cover up this matter. You look at the fact that they running all over and get evidence, I understand that he went to the area where this girl lived. That can be seen as intimidation. That can be seen as intimidation. The police commanders involved, all them things as intimidation. And that would have been, in my view, with my experience, sufficient grounds to say, hey, park up there for the night. Park up for the night. You remember when Conway tell he was arrested on a trumped up conspiracy to commit fraud charge? The commissioner, or the man who sat in the commissioner's chair, Nigel Api, told Mr. Conway why this thing is political, I can't send him on bail. And it's a minister of the government had to instruct them to put him on bail. So maybe this time around, it's a minister of the government also instructed them to put him on bail. Mr. Parzam, your name Carlin. Your name Carlin. Yes, you see this bail issue, man. Talk to me about it.
Yeah. And in my case, similar facts. We were all held at Brookdown Police Station. Brookdown Police Station. Now, I used to teach, and when I'm dealing with bail, there are certain factors to be considered before granting bail. You mentioned some there. Well, let me give some others. You look at the gravity and the nature of the charge. You ask yourself, will the prisoner attend court or return to station as directed? Will the granting of bail defeat the ends of justice? You say, the weight of evidence you have, possibility of absconding, and last but not least, that you be guided by the Constitution and your conscience. And I always remember those two words, when they had the discipline service inquiry, and they had Mr. Adraj in the witness box there, and they told him of all the illegal orders that he gave to McDonald, Commissioner McDonald, and Commissioner McDonald carried out in terms of upgrading Achilles' firearm and all sort of thing there. And here what Minister Gadrat said, Commissioner McDonald should have been guided by the Constitution and his conscience. He chose under the bus. So there are several factors to be considered in terms of granting bail. And I believe that Namla shouldn't get bail. And lo and behold, I hear the next day they go and start the place. They keep him in custody. He could destroy quite a lot of vital evidence and all kind of thing there. He should not have been. And I don't know if he had $1 million, as you mentioned, where the GR there, check with the police finance office if any money was paid in. Because they say you only a certain amount of money, you can't remember the amount that you gotta keep at station because police is tamper with the bail money. Police use the bail money to do business and kind of thing.
Police are steal the bail money, man. Police are steal bail money from a lot of police get trouble for bail money. A lot of people get trouble for bail money. So you're right. I want to know. I would love to see that GR. Over, are you talking? Okay, listen, we're listening to some maybe they're offering now to write some GR, write up some GR. But I'm sure that you're gonna write GR now. A proper investigation to see because the GR, them GR are numbers consecutively. So
yeah.
So it's a whole set of things. And the story is you're trying to cover up, you get knowledge, you're making matters worse. You're making matters worse. And as you said, somebody said no money's large, no money large, and all of that. Folks, I had promised to run back to this thing, but hey, we got to talk so much today that I think, and we get so many people in class, we are getting the luxury of running back all them a shout out. Today is not a shout out day. Today is not a shout out day. So let me say this. Let me move on to the next part of this thing. I'm talking here now about the investigation. The investigation. Remember the president said that, they said, eventually they said they're going to investigate. Now, one former senior detective and I had an exchange of text the other day. And the man tell me, he said, Mr. Slow, not Mr. Slow, he said, Paul, this thing is a straightforward, based on the facts that are there in the public domain and so on. It's a straightforward investigation, I say, of course it is. But given the fact, given the people who we have in charge now, given the people that we have in charge, I have no confidence in the police to do a professional and proper investigation. I have absolutely no confidence in them to do a professional and proper investigation at this time. Because it is my view that the politicians are going to influence where this one goes. The politicians are going to influence where it goes. Cheryl, we had roll call earlier, we had roll call early, Cheryl. So maybe you came in a little late, but we had roll call early before we started. But yeah, because look, and the reason is, as I have said, you got a case where very early in the day, the commander of Region 2 inserted himself into this process to get a statement to recant this thing. And I am certain that the commander did not do that on his own. I am certain that the commander would have been instructed to do so. And I am certain that the people or the person or persons who instructed the commander to do so, they themselves would have retrieved instructions that they passed on. In other words, they were just the conveyor belt. They conveyed the information to the commander to get a statement from her to that the story ain't true. This thing with my Paul put up there is not true. I am certain about that. I am certain. So I have no confidence, but yes, the man is right. Given the statement that this young lady has provided, this should be a straightforward thing. You go about to try to verify some of the things. She talk about the driver. I see this morning they say the driver was questioned. I the questioning the driver as an accessory. He would have been arrested and then questioned. Arrested, cautioned, and questioned as an accessory, either before or after. Because he looked like he is a man what they procuring and carrying. Because let me say this, because if you're going to come with a defense, well, you're a driver, you're just doing what you're told. If you see something wrong, you have a legal and moral responsibility to deal with it. So my view is that he should have been arrested and questioned. They say he was questioned, then say whether he was arrested. Then you get the terms of the thing. I said the victim provided a detailed statement to work on. A lot of things were mentioned in the statement. For example, she talked about the school transfer. But you're going to investigate, is it true that there was a school transfer? Should they go into Bishops and she got transferred to the school on the executable course? Who facilitated this transfer? Was this transfer a regular and routine transfer? All of that. You got to think. All of that. You talk about the beauty pageant. Yeah, you could verify whether there was a beauty pageant. You might even get to know who were the other people there, whether in fact the minister was the sponsor. She said he was the sponsor. Was he? Was he? Easy to verify. It shouldn't be. You got to be a genius to do that. And she said she was warned by two persons to stay far. It suggests that they know that the man is a predator. They know that the man is a predator. I'm sorry, this girl, mother, her name, Ashley Bobbitt. Are you going to do your research, Ashley Bobbitt? I can't tell you everything in this class. But you got a lady named Bobbitt in the US. You must check Bobbitt and see who she was and what she did. So I started the mother and then wasn't related to Bobbitt, Ashley Bobbitt. Then, right, so you have a case where she said to, after she was warned, I know they're going to say, I think one of them already said, not true. Thanks, Gary, Leona Bobbitt, the person. You see what I tell you? I might get one things wrong in terms of name as well, but they are facts. They are facts. The Bobbitt story. The Bobbitt. Thanks, Commissioner Cole. So that is what we want. So she said she went to this office. She partly on more than one occasion. Her mother accompanied her to the minister's office. That should be easily verified. They got people working in the office. They got question all of them to find out if this is so. The secretary and all of them. If the mother went there, what was the purpose of the visit? How was it arranged? What are we investigating? Giving them all the points for them to follow up. How was it arranged? And for what was the purpose of the visit? What, because I understand the girl's mother worked in that ministry of local government, perhaps not at the minister's office, but somewhere in the region. Find out all of that. Find out all of that. And the girl said that is the visit to the office that caused her to lower her guard, having been warned to be careful, because when she went to the office, she was treated so nicely. The man served them and so on. She said that she believed that this man is the best man, the best classic grooming body predator. The man groomed well. The man groomed well, and then he moved in for the kill. Right? Then you have here, as I said, the minister driver. The girl said that the day when this incident occurred, she took her brother. She had to meet two friends and all of that. She took her brother with her. Statement from the brother, he's 9 years old or something like that. Statement can be taken in certain circumstances. I'm sure Shibrana know how to take a statement from a person of that tender age. We could take a statement from him to say whether they've been there for truth, right? Then she said after the ordeal, well, before the after thing, she seemed to be in a position to describe the residents. Because she described the gate, some gate sliding on, something going there, TV downstairs that the little boy was put to watch, right? And then they go upstairs where the incident, the locust, we calling it, the locust in Co, the incident occurred. Bathroom, all of those things can be verified, easily verified. All of those things can be easily verified. You don't call for no genius in this thing. She said all of that. And then she said too that following the incident, and the driver took her back, I think, to Giffland Mall. She had to meet two friends or something like that. Who are the friends? Who are the friends? Did she tell him anything or did they see anything looking strange? All of that you got to do. You're investigating a rape. And if you want to be serious, because you want to get good representation, so you got to make sure you dot the I's and you cross the T's. And as we would say, you got to tie up the man like a iguana. You got to tie up the man like a iguana. So all you wriggle and wriggle mustn't be able to escape. Must not be able to escape. She said that she went there and the thing. And let me say this here too. Let me say this: the parents should be questioned in detail as to this money. Was any money paid indeed? She said $10 million in two tranches, $5 million, $5 million. Is it true? The parents must be asked and questioned, because if it is that they accepted money to drop this matter, that can be criminal. That can be criminal. So you question the parents. But when you're doing an investigation like this, no holds barred. Let me understand it clearly. The parents are to be questioned. The parents are to be questioned in respect to the perversion of courts of justice. Because they say, according to Chief Baran, the parents were at the station. How they get to take care of the station? Who tell them to catch it? What was their role at the station? Did they witness? Did they force her? Because she clearly indicating that having given the original statement, the parents pressure her to try to recant the statement. They collect money. They collect money. They collect money. So all of that got to be part of the question. As I said, the visit to the locust. And that is what Mr. Conway was talking about. Now, CC, let me bring you in with this one here, man. Because the people say, according to the news, that they visited the locust. In other words, again, for the students who don't understand the term, locust in Co is it basically translates to the place where the rape took place. The place. Now, to visit the locust, because they're saying in the paper today, I think Stabrook it is, that the police took him there to this place. He allowed them access. They're going to search this place, they say. But he was not allowed, according to the report, I know how true that is, because that is so strange. He remained outside and they went into search. So what are they searching for? Now, how do you search a premise and the occupant is outside? What happens if you find evidence? How are you going to get that in when the man will say, well, you plant it or something like that? He wasn't there. I expect you to visit the locust, but when you're going to visit the locust, basically, in my humble opinion, was to confirm or to debunk some of the things she said about the TV downstairs, about the bedroom, about the gate, the other side across, about the bathroom where is alleged to go and point out all them things. That is why you're going to visit. And even before visiting the locust, you have to get a statement where you should try to say how the step there. When you come in, which part the step there and all this everything, because that then will let you know that the story that she's telling about is not a fiction. She can't know these things unless she was there. Man, look, this thing, as I said, as my colleague said, this is a straightforward thing. Before you visit the locust, you got to make sure, because that would she didn't give that ever detail in the statement. So you got to make sure that, hey, all right, you come in, which side the door there? Because she's intelligent to tell you that. It's the door there. You say they get step. When you come in, whether it's stepped up on the right side, left side, straight in front of you, about how many traders you get platform. What the all them things you got to do? All of those things that they go for search the house where they search to find evidence. Yeah, that is plausible. You might have evidence of that crime and other crimes, so you could search. But as I'm saying, that when you visit the locus, you have to make sure that you tie down the victim to these statements, right? So that they can give a description of what this place is like. So when you go and the description that is given in the statement fits the description in the house, bingo, at the national park, bingo, bingo, all of that is evidence. Because how would she know that if she was not in the building? How would you know that? And I'm saying this again because Nigel Darnell get good representation. And the man represented me, so I know. So you got to make sure that you do the work properly. And again, that is where I don't have the confidence that the members of the Guyana Police Force, this politicized Guyana Police Force, can conduct a credible and proper investigation. Mr. Conway.
Yeah, Paul.
CC?
Yes, they went and searched a place, and there's all more reasons why he should have been kept in custody. Because if they hold him and they send him on bail, he could have. Remember the girl mentioned about the television. Perhaps he got him for the television. So you saying a television was downstairs, should we see no television, and a whole set of things could have been. He should have been kept in custody. But then searching the home, did he give permission for them to search? Or did they have a search warrant? What were they searching for? And imagine you searching my home and either downstairs or right outside of the building. What kind of policing is that? You know? And the investigation, as you mentioned, is straightforward. But I remember when I was doing my prosecutor course at DPP, then talk about 3 facts that the investigators must look at. Facts in issue, facts relevant to the facts in issue, and facts which introduce and explain that you gotta get anything. That's why maybe they carried it. And when they carried it, did she have a confrontation with the man she accused of raping her? Whether slight or thing, so many issues there, Paul, that I don't know, but the thing is that the investigation gotta be properly done, and then judging from them, they might leave a lot of loopholes that allow the use to blast away. That's what is, some investigators, when they investigate, they left loopholes so that they can come in and could draw the case gone down the drain. But I don't have confidence in the police in terms of them doing a proper investigation, and especially an investigation of this nature involving a minister and a little girl. I don't have the confidence in them. And as I mentioned, he should not have gone and blamed. More so, you're going and search his house the next morning.
Yeah, well, yeah, I agree. If you had intention of searching, the man should be kept in custody. Because the man could go there and tamper with evidence.
Yeah.
And that is why he should have been kept in custody. That is why, right? Because the detail was already out there as to certain description in the TV downstairs. Next year, as you rightly said, next year the man move the TV. Can't move his step. He can't move his step, but certain things can be rearranged, right?
Yeah.
Because I would not take it beyond them if she had given a description about curtains and other stuff, movable items that can leak the tree, and those things can be rearranged and all of that to cast doubts on the credibility of the victim. And as you rightly said, they said that the victim there, this search was conducted with the victim. He too was there. And somebody asked the question, did you have any welfare person and all of those things with her to give her comfort and confidence? Because if it is that the police going there with the victim at the victim house for her to relive this trauma, no doubt when she saw that place again, she will get flashback. It should not, I don't know, but I'm just saying that something like that, the type of support mechanism ought to have been there when the thing. And well, again, right, all like they say, with all them texts and all them type of thing, subpoena his phone records. And even if you try to delete and all them type of thing, they have forensic method, scientific method to bring back all them thing. All of those collaboration. collaboration, because a lot of communication took part with cell phone and maybe WhatsApp and all them type of thing. All of that in this investigation. So that is why again I say that my colleague said it's an easy investigation. This is an easy investigation. And then the next thing I think CC will find is interesting, because they did also, let's talk about this, what they call safe city cameras and so on. The safe city cameras. Has anyone start to check out these cameras in this area around the time when this thing, because the safe city cameras are not supposed to be like the ordinary person camera with limited storage. Those things are supposed to be retained for a long period of time. So December to now is not such a long period. Safe city camera ought to be able to show the car going to movie town, the car coming back to wherever you gotta go. All of those things, part of the investigation, if you're gonna do a proper investigation. All. And then I say, in terms of the DPP, this is a case, a classic case for paper committal. A classic case for a paper committal. So let me tell you what's a paper committal. We're teaching. Now, in other words, in the paper committal, this young girl and the other witnesses would not be required to go to the preliminary inquiry, because, rape is not a hybrid case. Another one is a hybrid. Again, I have to explain. Rape is an offense under the Sexual Offences Act. So you can't get an indictable or summary. It's indictable, right? So in an indictable case in Guyana, now under normal circumstances, you do go through a preliminary inquiry at the magistrate court, where you have to go and give the evidence, she and everybody else, and the magistrate got to determine whether a prima facie, a case at first glance, has been made out against the accused. And then if she is satisfied, then the depositions here are all the statements and all the things are sent to the DPP, for the DPP to review and the DPP to commit to indict. The DPP will indict to stand trial at a session. Now with the paper committal, you go away from that. So basically what happened, file is sent to the DPP. DPP decided paper committal, sent it to the magistrate. The defense also provided with all the statements. The defense will then do write-in paperwork to respond to the prosecution's case, and then the magistrate go through the paperwork and decide, yes, there is a case, recommend paper committal. So once you get a paper committal, no preliminary inquiry at the magistrate court, straight up to the judge and your 12 peers, judge and jury, straight up. So I'm saying that this case, given the nature of this case, if it comes to the fact that they have enough evidence, and I don't see how they would not get enough evidence in this matter, to paper committal straight to the high court before a judge and the jury of his peers. Classic case for paper committal. Mr. Conway.
You're quite correct, and I gotta go back to this act, section 43. And I just supporting what you say. Where a person is charged with an offense on this act, there shall be no oral preliminary inquiry, and instead a paper committal shall be held in accordance with the procedures set out in the first schedule. It's there. And, safe city, you mentioned about it. And they also boasted at the officers' conference that the president said that safe city will replace boots on the ground. I know we could replace boots on the ground. That safe city will replace boots on the ground. And let me go back to this act, Paul, when Jagdeo signed this act in 2010, I was the force training officer. And I had a mandate to ensure that the police were enlightened about the act. We had programs sponsored by UNESCO. And we had this woman, excellent lawyer, Della Britton. She conducted several training programs for our police. And we had the various categories. Remember, I had you and all the commander and myself in classroom at senior officers, junior officers, station sergeant, inspectors, even at various levels in terms of this act, the act is a very serious act. And according to the act, you're supposed to set up a national task force. Section 87 says there shall be established an interagency task force to be known as a National Task Force for the Prevention of Sexual Offences, which shall have the duty to develop and implement national plan for the prevention of sexual offences. And here what they say, Section 2, the President shall appoint the members of the task force, which shall include ministers of legal affairs, home affairs, human service, social security, and marine affairs, education, health, local government, youth, sports and culture, senior public officers with responsible law enforcement, health and human and social services, and persons from non-government organization. And it said that the task force is supposed to reach all meeting once every 3 months. But I am certain, I have the act here, that quite a number of police from top to bottom are not au fait with this act. And this act is serious, and the government has not been playing its part. What happened with the National Task Force? They're jumping about the place, and this is what allow the allegations to be made against Dharamlal that they're not enforcing the act, Paul. And the thing is that they talk about forensic. I hear somebody they mentioned that they had a forensic statement or a forensic report. I I got training in forensic science, basic, but very instructive. And it's saying the basic definition is the application of scientific principles in criminal investigation. So I want to know what kind of scientific principles did they employ in terms of coming up with a forensic report or a forensic statement. Maybe they might be able to tell us what was done.
Yeah, I saw the thing too. I said the thing was poorly taken. There's not it wasn't taken with a view to prosecution, because at one stage that say they're talking about Botox. What is Botox? You talking about buggery and you're talking about rape and you're frightened for using the correct terms. You're talking about Botox. You're gonna have Botox in it's anus and vagina. You gotta be explicit. What is Botox? You're talking about the cheek. What are you talking about? And Terence, you said in statements and everything might disappear. But let me tell you, of course, now in this environment, all that could happen. But when I was a police commander, right, and you're sending file for legal advice, things like CS, the original CS, and them caution statement and certain documents, the original are locked up in my safe. The original in me safe. Them original ain't going nowhere. Copies are going. Copies are going. And the original are only going to be presented in court. So, well, you got a lot of inexperienced commanders now. I guess they know that. But when, again, I say that when files are sent, has a long route to get files to go to the DPP regularly. But all the major evidence, with caution statement, and certain exit, some other documents and so on, documents, medical certificate and everything. Them things are going in the file. Copies are going because they don't need to see the original. Original is a court. So you ain't bringing that to me. You're not bringing that. But again, you got a lot of force quarter commanders. For those of you who are poke knockers that are associated with poke knockers, you know the term when they talk about force quarter poke knocker. They talk about force quarter commanders. They have a lot of force quarter commanders are not familiar with these things. And that is why we're saying the training. Because long ago, when we trained and we interacted with the junior officers and we were preparing them, they were taught all of these things. You're going to find this in no book. You tend to no book, so you got to tell them how to deal with files and all of that. Now, Mr. Conway alluded to this earlier, the presumption of innocence. A lot of people talking now how the allegation is made against Dharamlal, and he's entitled to the presumption of innocence. I agree. You are innocent until proven guilty. I had to remind Gail to share that a few months ago. Because when I spoke at the town hall in New York, she jumped and tell, oh, slow charge, and he's before the court, and all them. That's what she said in a release. So I had to go and tell she, yeah, there's a presumption of innocence, and you're innocent until proven guilty. I have to remind you so many things. You're innocent until proven guilty. So yes, there's a presumption of innocence. But this thing is selectively applied in Guyana. And let me remind you, only last week, and for the older folks, this is not King Fighter, only last week, Suki tell me, you know the song, King Fighter, the younger folks know it. I'm not talking about only last week, 3 constables from New Bobby's Region 6 were dismissed from the force following an incident in December 2022 where an assistant superintendent misplaced his firearm. And I can tell you that based on what came to my attention, dismissed. There's no presumption of innocence there, no rule of law. So they don't charge them, no natural justice, and give them a chance to prove their innocence. So presumption of law did not apply there. Let me remind you all, last year, almost a year now, in July last year, Sergeant Damian McLennan, in this murder case on the East Coast, Quindon Bacchus, I think the deceased name, murder. Sergeant charged for perverting the course of justice. He was never the scene. They find something charged for perverting the course of justice. The murder accused, the Nabriga, the other man, Simon, all of them charged and dismissed the day that they appeared in court. The day that they appeared in court, I think it was July 5 or something like that. The day they appeared in court, the man who sits in the chair now dismissed them. So don't come now and talk about presumption of innocence. They were not presumed to be innocent. Because they were charged, they are dismissed. So the thing is selectively applied. So when you come to talk about presumption of innocence, it should be applied across the board. Because the rule of law states that all are equal under the eyes of the law. All should be treated equally. So if there's a presumption of innocence for Nigel Darnell, there should be a presumption of innocence for everyone else, including those policemen who were dismissed. And there were so many policemen dismissed over the past 2 years, or even longer than that. And I pointed out here, they have so many case laws, we say you can't do that. But then people are concerned, they're dismissing them, they're going to court, and I'm sure they will win when they go to court. And it's taxpayers like me, you got to pay. Taxpayers like you and I have to pay this thing when the damages are awarded. As in the case that I mentioned earlier, $2.2 million is taxpayers got to pay that. And the time has to come where these people got to be held personally accountable. I believe so. Especially this egregious act. Look, policemen are going to make mistakes. They are human beings. They're going to make mistakes. But when people set out to deliberately, from the evidence, violate people's rights, they should come out of their pocket, take the pension and all them, take the gratuity and all them things. Deny them of that. I'm not saying that you're not going to make what we call honest mistake. You make honest mistake, you go there, you have to make split-second decisions. You might make the wrong decision. But when I want to sit down in the chair and you get time to review file and all of that, see statements, and then you decide to deny a person the presumption of right, a presumption of innocence, no. I can't give in to that. So this presumption of innocence thing is selectively applied. Mr. Conway, presumption of innocence.
That's true, but then you used to talk about animal farm, and I studied that for GC, All animals are equal, but some are more equal than others, Animal farming play in the Guyana police force, man, and in the country as a whole.
Indeed. Now, the next thing I want to talk about here is investigation. I am saying here, and I made a note, that it is my view that this investigation must be closely monitored to ensure that the police do not continue in their efforts to prevent the minister from facing justice and having his day in court. They're going to try to do all sorts of jiggery-pogery. And we have gotten to this stage because of the scrutiny, the public scrutiny that was put on this matter, the glare there in the public lane. So they are likely to be a little bit more cautious with this thing. So I guess that the international community, including CARICOM and all the relevant UN agencies, must be provided with details of the allegation and the attempt to cover up. You got to open, internationalize this thing. When you do conflict management at UG, They had a famous book that we used to study, Snat Snyder, E. Snat Snyder, and it tells you how to deal with conflict. Whether you take it up, you take it across, or you take it up, you got to understand how to deal with things like all of these people should be made aware so that they can get their eyes on what is going on. And maybe the investigators are going to be more cautious in trying to continue their efforts to cover up this matter. I think that is what has to be done. I said persons should also continue to protest for the removal of the minister, continue to protest, continue to write letters, don't stop, continue to give interviews. Dharamlal must go. And again, he's presumed innocent, but given the nature of the allegation, he should be made to resign. As had happened before, this is not without precedent. He should be made to resign until such time that he is cleared. Right? You can't get him driving around with government car and enjoying the largesse of his office when a serious allegation like that is made against him. Let me say further. As I said before, not only resign from his office as minister, should resign from parliament as well. You can't have a person as a lawmaker with this type of damning allegations against him. He making law, he have to know better. And I'm going to talk about previous conduct in a while. I'm going to talk about previous. And then, remember when to talk about administrative leave. Let me go into my archives. Remember back in 2004, something wrong with the ministry of, that same ministry of local government. Because in 2004, the minister in that office, Ganga Prasad, was accused of having an inappropriate relationship with a minor. When I say minor, not M-I-N-E-R, there's some amphibians here, so we have to read and spell M-I-N-O-R. A little picnic then, you might understand, a little picnic, he was accused. And he said he tendered his resignation. Or he said he asked some things like that. Well, he resigned, and he said he resigned from the post of minister. He cited personal reasons. Personal reasons. And I said this was in the wake of the allegation that he had an inappropriate relationship with a minor. And Roy at the time, Clement John, who now the GCOM as a commissioner, former minister of Home Affairs, he was a general secretary of the PPP at the time, right? And after intense questioning after press conference, because he trying for dance, he trying for Salawala, and then of course you had some journalists jabbing and jabbing and jabbing. Then immediately, reluctantly admitted that President Ramatar had actually asked the minister to go on leave, and the minister didn't really voluntarily resign for personal reasons, as he was telling people. And here what happened? They said. When asked if the PPP is concerned about the report implicating Prasad, Roy said, or is alleged to have said, Roy Clement John is alleged to have said, and I quote in it, when asked if the thing that he said, let me read what the question was asked to him first. He said, when asked if the PPP is concerned about the report implicating Prasad, Roy said, and I quote, we are concerned in respect of all government ministers committing acts of indiscretion, committing acts of impropriety, committing acts of dishonesty, committing acts of corruption while carrying out their ministerial responsibilities. Then he went on to say, this has been a long-established concern ever since we took office in 1992. That's what Roy said back in 2014. And here what happened later on, y'all do the research like me, man. Later on, it was alleged Parliament, big nice, because it was alleged that the same Ganga Prasad was issued with multi-million-dollar contracts for consultations. Same man. And then, sometime in either last year or sometime, the man was sworn in as a member of the Public Service Commission. So you got to keep your eye, you move them from one place, and then the next year they put them in some place else. Or in the same position to keep a low profile, like the PS's Home Affairs. You hear nothing more about her, with your phone where you sees and all them everything. The PS's Marine Affairs, who was charged criminally with the mark money with the mark and set up. The matter dismissed because the virtual complaint decided you want to give evidence. You ain't hear nothing about them. I sure that there ain't some kind of drawing big. So you got to watch. Same thing they're likely to do with Dharam Lal. And then let me tell you too, the man was previously accused of all sort of behavior. Today, there's a letter in both dailies, both major dailies, like Stabrook and Kaichor, from a doctor, what the man name? From a Dr. Jerry Jailal. And the man said, hey, let me read certain part. Let me read excerpts of this thing. He said that Minister Dharam Lal deserves due process and must be presumed innocent until proven guilty. The law is an ass. That is a famous state. The law is an ass. He goes on to say, so far, the government side is bumbling, fumbling, blundering on the issue. Then why did the minister get bail? Well, he asked the question, why did the minister get bail quickly and was not held over? He go on to say, why was the minister not charged as yet? Well, that is, we can't charge it so quick because you got to do an investigation. Why did the president not fire the minister once the Kaichor News broke the story? I asked him the same question. He said he waiting for a police report was not the best answer. When Mr. Bascom appealed to the president for help and protection, did he ever get it? That is Bascom, who made the allegation against the businessman and ranks at CID with the paper shots murder. The man asked the question, the man appealed through the same Nigel News to the president for help and protection. He asked him if he ever get it. Well, I could answer that. No, he never get it. What he got is they went behind him. Right now, he's facing several cybercrime charges, and they're doing everything to get him dismissed or to dismiss him from the force. That is what is taking place. He said, he goes on to say, when I looked at the minister's record, here is what I found in the news reports. Apparently, there was an allegation made by a New York-based young woman, he put your name, that Minister Dharam Lal, accusing Minister Dharam Lal of harassing her for sex. And the president said they should report to the police. President like you report to the police. But when this one, he didn't report to the police. And that is carried in April the 2nd, 2022, Stabrook News. Accusations against Dharam Lal, Stabrook News, April 4, 2022. There was a newsroom article which says Mr. Dharam Lal was one of the group of 6 charged with 300 million fraud against former GRDA, that's Guyana Rice Development Board of Directors. The matter was thrown out. The article said that the air they say, sweep. The article said that the prosecutors did not show up for 3 consecutive times. Here it is. Mr. Dharam Lal at that time was charged with a $300 million fraud. He and some others. And the matter was thrown out because the article is saying that the lawyers representing Mr. Dharam Lal did not show up for 3 consecutive times, so the charge was dismissed. And then here who the lawyers were. Attorneys representing the person charged included Priya Manikchand, who is now the Minister of Education, Anil Nandalal, now the Attorney General, and others, according to the article. There was another headline, I read what he said. U.S. revokes visa of MP Siraj and Dharam Lal. That is Stabrook News, June 16, 2017. It appears as if that was in relation to the fraud charges, which were dropped, and his visa may have been restored. Well, the visa must have been restored because the allegation about him and this in New York was after that. That was sometime last year, I think it was. It circulating. So that is the story. And then here what the thing is, they go on to say cops probing PPP MP over alleged shooting threats. This is where it is alleged that he had some altercation with a man, worked with the IDB, and because the man was communicating with Dharam Lal's ex-wife, and they accused him, the man accused that he pulled a gun on me somewhere on the East Coast, Communist Lodge or somewhere this incident is alleged to have occurred. And if you read, you're going to say that when the matter went before the DPP, no charge was preferred because they said the two parties, that's the IDB employee and Darren settled the matter, right? And then, you know, the PPP had said then, Jack Dio is reported to have said then that when Darren will have to give a believable explanation. That is what he said. He said the reporter clearly he has to give explanations, solid explanation, believable explanations to the executive of the party and to us because the allegations are serious. Jack Dio told members of the media at a press conference yesterday at party headquarters. In this matter, there was another report that said when no charge laid against him because the matter thing. Then again, they listen to this one. There was a headline, opposition motion seeks expulsion of Darren Lal from parliament. And this is carried in February 23rd, Stabrook News 2022. This has to do with the dildo remark that, you know, that they're all over the place, where he told a female member of parliament that you need a dildo. You need a dildo. He tells you so. The start is expulsion. That ain't going away. That ain't going no way. And then they get one again, which was headline, the speaker walks out of house after opposition disobedience. The article said the business of the National Assembly was at a standstill for 15 minutes last evening when Speaker of the House, Dr. Bartland Scotland, walked out of the chambers in the face of the refusal by the opposition side of the House to follow his directives. The latest confrontation between Scotland and the opposition members of parliament started when opposition backbencher Nigel Dallenlal refused to withdraw his statement that the government of Guyana was disseminating the indigenous people. Hey, what the man claimed? The man claimed this was the thing. The man made an allegation in parliament, or he made a statement in parliament that the opposition members of parliament, right, that the government of Guyana, the government of Guyana was decimating the indigenous people. Darren made a statement during his presentation on the motion brought by his colleague Pauline Sukai. Where's she there? Where's she there? Where is she? She's supposed to be the Minister of Amerindian Affairs. 20 Amerindian children died. One got 19 murder charge. 4 charge in Karasaba school. You don't hear nothing but she? Right? So then he said, he closed by saying this letter, and it's there. I mean, Stabrook News, you got to pay to read, but if you go to Kaichur, I think it's there too as well. The government side must not circle the wagons as is their usual modus operandi. It must decide whether it will carry this ongoing liability into the next election. And they say, he said, I wonder how this fella get promoted to minister with all them type of baggage. You know, when I was chosen to be the chairman of the Police Service Commission, Barrett Jagdio, he didn't agree because I get baggage. He didn't see the baggage that Darren Lal get. He didn't see Darren Lal baggage. And here they got the next week for the. Let me tell you this one article in again today, a letter, I think it was today, same letter, in today's Sky Show News. Where the thing there? I like the thing so way. Let me bring in Mr. Conway while I try to find this article, man. See, text some button. I try to find this one.
Yeah, all those things that you mentioned there, Paul, it shows what we call consistency of misconduct by Darren. But this present one, this one with this little child, has taken the gold medal. And I hope and I'm praying that a proper investigation, as you mentioned, must be done to bring Darren to justice. There must be no cover-up. They mustn't collect any money, any further money to drop the case. That this case must go before a judge and jury. And I hope that proper investigation, it might be painstaking, it must be detailed, but the investigation must go on to the end.
Yeah, what do you think? Folks, hear what the thing say. Kaichon News today letter. They tell, is Minister Darmlala Godi that the PPP will have to carry, or will it cut it off? It will cut off the Godi now. But I know back in the day, again, they want to know, that's the headline, if Darmlala is a Godi, that the PPP will have to carry, or will they cut off the Godi now? I want to know, they get different type of Godi, They, they have different type of Godi according to Norman Frank. They think he got them in 3 categories: loco, and wada. And for those of you who don't know, Godi is extra large testicle seeds. So the guy that call them sungu. In the country we call them sungu. Norman Frank said they got 3 types: loco, and wada. How do you used to describe? He said loco are the ones very prominent in front. Very prominent. So when you're walking down, you're going in opposite direction. So I say, look how the man get good. It shows thing. Then they got the next one is that you say you got the You're walking, and then somebody see the thing that say No, the next one is water. Before you get then you see the thing. Somebody say, oh God, a water. Oh Lord, a water. The thing's so big and prominent. Oh Lord, a water. And the last one is So you're walking in the opposite direction and you pass, and then you turn around. And when you turn around, you see the thing at the back like a dog, like a pig. You say, I didn't know the man that go there. So it's 3. It's loco, and water. Loco, and water. So we have to find out is what type of Godi they're carrying in this thing with Dharamlal. Maybe it's all 3. Maybe it's a loco, and a water. Maybe it's a loco, and a water. So that's the thing when they ask whether they're carrying this Godi. Right? They want to know if they can carry the Godi. And here this one, right? Today again. Oh Lord, somebody calling. Hold on, see, we got a. Let me continue. So they got the next story here. Man, today's sweet. And I invited you all to read today, Kaicho News again. They say parents of another girl parents demand justice for daughter raped by a government official. Parent, then today, Kaicho News, and it goes, it says quickly, I'm going to read, groomed, they said the minister groomed her with a plane ticket and money. Quickly, the parents of another indigenous girl are now crying out for justice after a minister used plane tickets and money to groom their 16-year-old daughter into having sex with him. She was underage when the minister started having a relationship with her, and according to the parents, it is statutory rape. They had reportedly attempted to intervene and take legal action against the official, but the child, who was 15 at the time, refused to cooperate because she believed that she was in love. The official, however, abruptly ended the relationship, and it had reportedly thrown the child into a state of depression. The parents said that the child at the time wanted to drop out of school and to give up on her dreams to become a nurse. The victim's cousin shared details of how the official groomed the child into his trap. She said that the nightmare for the family began when the minister visited their village. He invited her to where he was staying, and she never made it back home until next morning. The cousin said the trend reportedly continued every time the official visited the village until he started purchasing plane ticket for her to spend time with him in Georgetown. The situation, and it's quoting, because the situation got worse when the minister sent a plane ticket for my cousin to come to town during the school term while she was doing the school-based assessment SBA examination she had it. Due to our parents disagreeing with the relationship, the child would travel without their knowledge, leaving them clueless and worried about our whereabouts. Having arrived in Georgetown, the child would then allegedly call the parents and tell them that she is safe with the government official. Our trips to Georgetown became more frequent until the relationship ended abruptly during this year. The cousin alleged that the child found out that the official was cheating on her with other girls our age. During one of our trips to Georgetown, she confronted the official and they had a fight, which led to our returning to our village in tears. Kaichor News was told that the child does not want to come forward, but the parents are demanding justice because it has left their daughter in a state of depression. Body another victim, Morgan come out. This is gonna be Guyana's Me Too movement. It should be. Mr. Conway, did you see this letter?
Yeah, I read all of them. I read all of them, and maybe more to come, as you mentioned. Persons are getting bolder and bolder and come forward.
They did not say who this other official was. They did not say in the letter. Boy, see other things who say who the person was. I have seen other correspondence which suggests who this person is that is alleged to have done this to this girl. And I think I am not sure, but I believe that under the Sexual Offences Act, a matter like this, if the girl was below age, it's not whether she wants to cooperate or not. It's not whether the girl, if she was underage at the time, wants to cooperate or not. So they should really look and pursue. We see all things like this is the welfare department, the house we should get involved. Somebody, it appears as though, and I made a note of it here, it appears as though to people like Nigel Darlal and others, these interior regions where these indigenous people reside seems to be target-rich environment. Seem to be, and there's a military term, they seem to be a target-rich environment where they're going there and they do the stupidness, as Guyanese would say. That is what they think. So these things require investigation, and I believe if it is properly handled, they're likely to be more persons coming out. Because again, I say, having regards to the allegation in this matter involving this girl and the minister that is being investigated, that's the one that is being investigated where he was arrested. Given the conduct described by the person making the allegation, can't be a one-off. Nobody don't get up one day and decide, hey, you can do this. Must have been doing it over and over and over. It must have lots of victims. Man get enough notches and he gone. Man is a gunslinger in the sense that he get a gun, not gunslinger in terms that he get the gun is a big gun. The man get notches on the gun. And again, if you read the description of the New York incident, if you read the description, the man there isn't a photograph. There is even a photograph in that thing where the man is alleged to screenshot. The man is alleged to have taken out his penis, according to Mudwater, mushroom, took out his mushroom and showed it to the WhatsApp it to the young lady. And they're talking about cybercrime. They're talking about cybercrime. I believe that act is either a cybercrime or a sexual offenses under the Sexual Offences Act. But they're investigating these things. Animal farm, some are equal, but some are more equal than others. Animal farm. And Mudwater said, Mudwater referred to Darmlal as mushroom, and Mudwater said there is also a baby mushroom. Another minister he referred to as baby mushroom that had allegations made against him. He did not identify the person. But me, I'm doing an investigation to find out who is baby mushroom. I am doing my investigation to find out who is baby mushroom. These people are despicable and have no right to be in any position of authority and power. None whatsoever. None. None. When you are praying, P-R-E-Y-I-N-G, not praying, P-R-A-Y, and I believe too many of us pray, P-R-A-Y. While the others pray, P-R-E-Y. And young children. I say glad that I ain't get um, young children or so, young children, but get family members and so on. And I don't know how I would react if any one of those monsters were to interfere with any one of my family members. I don't know. I don't know how I can react. But I got a strong suspicion it's not going to be nice. It is not going to be nice. It is not going to be nice. They're praying and grooming these little girls, and they have, it seems they have the penchant for the girls in those particular communities. They are gravitating. So we need to find out if they are facilitators, if there are people in those communities who are facilitating or who are procuring these young female. You need to find out all of that. So this thing is not only this investigation that Dharamlal is alleged to have raped this one woman. This thing seems to be deeper than that. Seems to be much deeper than that. It seems as though there is an arrangement, whether you call them trafficking, maybe that is part of it too. I don't know. But there need to be a more in-depth investigation of what this thing happened, because it looked as though, as I say, from what going on, I get people procuring these girls. Come on, I go walk into a remote area just so and see a thing. You have to set up. Go meet the minister. You want to meet the minister? Yeah. Let me take the minister make it play. Imagine this man go to an area according to the allegation in the letter that I just read. Talk to this girl. They said she was 14 at this time. Invite her to his hotel. And according to the thing there, she basically spent the night with him and continued to do so every night that he was there. My God. My God. And then the man sent plane ticket. You know, plane ticket, again, as part of this investigation, these things are easy to investigate. Because it's not like if you get 10, 12 airline going to them places at particular times, these things can be investigated. Plane ticket ought to have a paper trail. Ought to have a paper trail. And I am saying again that not only the investigation against this, in respect to this one matter, but this whole thing should be investigated. Umo, which other baby mushroom or whoever they get to violate these young indigenous girls. We got to see. We got to know. Now the girls, you know, boys as well. Boys as well, because we know from what is in the public sphere that some of them like boys. Remember Julius? Do you remember Julius? Where a current sitting minister is caught on tape propositioning this young boy until he has nothing to fear. It's just like if you're doing it with a woman. Remember that? So, and Julius, listen to what he named the short man, Mr. Phillips from Cross the River. He sang a calypso about it. He sang a calypso, Julius, and the man is on thing, the man crying when like the little boy, oh, Julius, oh, Julius. Body, this thing serious. So it's not only young girls, young boys. I told you all about the story where one of them make a move on a little recruit in Waterloo Street. Little recruit from the police training school, he's touchy man, he don't know tongue, he walking down there, and this what you think was a decent gentleman, Carly, and after a Guinness, and he go and he drink the Guinness, and the man after your next Guinness, and then the man make him move, and then he realize what's going on, the police realize what's going on, so he walk out to Waterloo Street and bust a sprint towards police headquarters, and the man running behind him telling, "Hey, come!" And the police, the little recruit up the road, and the man running behind the little recruit, calling for come back. The man drinking Guinness and bust a sprint. Cool sports, you know, school sports. You see them and you come back. Man, the carton tape crying and begging the little boy, telling the boy, you don't gotta be afraid of nothing. The thing is just like when you're doing it to a woman and all them things. Them wicked, stink and dirty people, they're in power and using the power. And they just come on TV and write to the people and tell you all sort of nonsense. And they're so immoral, they're so wicked, they so stink, they're so dirty. They are criminals and they have no right to be in position of power because they're using the positions to prey, P-R-E-Y, on innocent people. And therefore, they must, all those who are involved must go. Forget about this presumption of innocence. As we said back in the day, a minister in the Art government accused of rape got retired, resigned to facilitate the investigation. And we're going to consider what can happen afterwards. But not no administrative leave, like what the president saying. Not no administrative leave. And we as Guyanese and all right thinking, this shouldn't be about politics. So despite what these cockroaches and these amphibians coming here to talk about, it shouldn't be about politics. I wonder if some of them get your children or get little family, how they would feel if such a thing were to happen to their family. CC, your closing remarks, my brother.
Yeah, two things. One is that there are too many overhanging fruits of the poisonous tree. And unless something is done, it will continue to have those things going on. The thing is that the National Task Force for the Prevention of Sexual Offences, Relation Section 47.1 and 47.2, is not being enforced, it is not functional. But I hope this present investigation will open the door for others to be done and also will put a deterrent to others. But I say the investigation must not only cater for Darmla alone. All those persons who have been aiding and abetting the commission of the offense, all those who have been trying to pervert the course of justice should be dealt with in this report. And putting that aside, on another issue, remember we talked a couple of times about the police force, the incompetence of the police force. We talk about there's no career development, there's no succession planning. Right now we have one commander, Commander 5. He is presently the commander in Region 5. He's presently the commander Region 6 and commander Region 4C. And the salary commander for Region 6 is out of the country for some duty. Commander Region 4C has gone to break down and take over. So one commander, the commander for Region 5 is now the commander for Regions 4C and 4th Region, Region 5. So one commander commanding divisions, what we call B is quarantine, B is Borbies, West Borbies, and on the East Coast. There's no succession planning, there's no career development. The two ICs are not allowed, are not given the opportunity to act in those positions. There's no job rotation, there's no job enlightenment, there's no job enrichment, that we're not exposing people. If a commander goes on leave, why not the 2IC in Borbies? Why not they have, I think, Deputy Superintendent Davison's name? Why not allow Davison to run the division that the commander Region 5 got to run it? And then in Commander 4C, there's a senior superintendent there, and another senior superintendent is running it. There's no real succession planning, there's no career development, therefore it will breed a lot of incompetence. So I hope that the investigation with the minister will continue, and even if it takes some time, that it must be meticulous, it may be painstaking, that all must be brought to justice. Not only the Armland, but all those supporters, all who trying for Dr. Mato, all who's trying to do all sorts of things that justice will not be done. I hope that the investigation will be properly done. I don't have any confidence in the police. And I also reiterate that the police should expose their 2ICs, that they must expose other persons, job rotation, job enlargement, job enrichment, so that those below them can develop.
Thanks, CC. But let me say this: if a man, if the police commander is a 2IC and can't run a division for a week or 2 or 3 or whatever period that the commander is on leave, then he ought not to be the 2IC.
Yeah.
He ought not to be. The second in command should be a person who can hold on for a few weeks or so. I held on when I was a senior superintendent, Bombery go on leave and so on at the division, I used to hold on. So I don't know what's going on. But let me tell you this, let me caution you about this commission that they talk about, the law speaks about. Don't hold your breath, because in the January this year, the Attorney General said that the Judicial Service Commission would be appointed in 3 months. Nothing. On the 24th of August last year, the Chief Justice ruled that the Police Service Commission was not properly constituted in the absence of the chairman of the Public Service Commission. Nothing happened until now. You get people who the Chancellor, the Chief Justice, all them acting since donkey years, nothing. So don't hold your breath that any commission as recommended by this act will be put in place. So let me caution you, because I want you to be here next week and all them weeks going forward to share this program with me. I want you to hold your breath and suffocate and die from asphyxiation. So please. Hey, but before you go, CC, Mr. Nigel Hughes, he normally advises me on legal issues because, as I said, I retain him to represent me in a lot of matters. I get 4 charges before the court. He represented me. And but now I will have to give him legal advice, because I noted in the media that he has advised his client, Mr. Nigel Dharamlal, to remain silent. But if by Mr. Nigel attacking to you as a big brother, I'm holding for you. I mean, you're the man with the legal mind. You just get arrested now, you know. You just get arrested for advising your client to remain silent. So watch your step, Nigel, watch your step. You're advising your client to remain silent. Next thing you know, the man will come and knock at your door. They're going to knock at your door and you can be arrested, because apparently now that is a criminal act for you to advise your client not to give a statement to the police. So I want to, again, give you that free, can't say legal advice, but advice of a big man, advice of your big man friend. watch it. So CC, let me hope you take the advice and that they're going behind me. Now, I want to close by saying, folks, we have a record. We had a record turnout in class today. That was expected. A record turnout. And thanks for your attention. And as I continue to say when we close, it's not about COVID now, but it's about being safe. The mothers who are here, the fathers who are here, you know what's going on with these little picnic, with these big men, these dirty, stinking, nasty big men going after. You would have seen, you would have heard the details of what that young lady went through. Try and protect your children. They look forward to you to provide protection to them. So please, and again, as I reported earlier in the program, from last week to now, we had 2 fatal accidents and murder. You got to be careful on the road. You got to be extremely careful. Rain falling, we're in the rainy season, and you got some people who are not driving fast. They are flying low. They are more like airline pilots. So it's not a case where they're there on the ground driving. It looks like they're flying. Because if you look, most of the accidents that are reported, and I say reported in the media, most of the accidents is somebody driving, losing control, running to some post, running to some parked vehicle, running to some other road user. That is what has been happening. And yet still, as I would say, these geniuses are the public propaganda unit. And you hear nothing? The man who sits in the chair, nothing. CC, according to the records, this man supposed to somebody told me that he's supposed to observe his second 55th birthday next month. His second 55th birthday, that's what I say. His second 55th. In other words, I say he should have retired already, but they get some jiggery pokery with the birth certificate. I know your father, your godfather, I didn't baptize you and things. So he's supposed to officially, the order 55 means that he should retire at the end of July. The other thing. So on the 1st of August 2023, the man is supposed to be a civilian. Man sit down there, the man ain't going away. But at least if again, President Ali, if you're leading, and if your intention is to keep the man who's sitting in the chair of the commissioner beyond his retirement date, let the public know. let the public know that you intend to keep him because he's doing such a fantastic work. You did say that when you go to the Caribbean, they'll tell you how the police force in Guyana is such a fantastic organization. You continue to be delusional. You continue to delude yourself into be in that. If it is, that is the plan of the government to keep the man who's sitting in the commissioner's chair beyond his retirement, which is due to take place on the 1st of August 2023, just over a month from now. Let us know, let the public know. Let the public know that that is your man. That is the man you want there. So when the likes of Dharam Lal commits rape and other criminal offenses, they can come to their rescue. You could get the Shift Barans and them. Let me know, just let me know. That's your decision. Just let me know. Right? And folks, again, I caution you to be safe. I caution you to keep your eyes on this investigation into this allegation against Dharam Lal. Because let us play this, I tell you, this limited shelf life game. By next week, they throw up some shiny object, and all of you looking at the object, and you they looking at the shiny object, and you get distracted. And for the time you get distracted, they do the thing. That is what happens. So, folks, all I want to tell you again, be safe. God spare life. Next week, Wednesday can be what? Wednesday can be the 28th. Next week, Wednesday the 28th, God spare life. We're going to be here for another episode. Today was a long day, almost 3 hours. Another episode of Speaking Out, exposing corruption and incompetence. Until then, take care.